All right, hello everybody. How's everyone doing today? We're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen at chapter 249, some predictions, and a bit about good old Yuta versus Sukuna. So first things first, let's get a poll in here. Does Yuta beat Sukuna? All right, hello everybody. And the answer is obviously no, but let's just put it out there for curiosity. Yuta stomps Sukuna. No cap, no cap. Definitely. Yuta has the W. Guaranteed. So I'm going to read over some of the comments we got here. I think Maki will appear around that time and utilize the soul-splitting katana to spectate Megami's and Sukuna's soul. Interesting. Yeah, Maki with the split soul katana, excuse me. That is definitely going to be one of the biggest upcoming factors in this fight, in my opinion. We still ain't seen his full bag yet, though. Who are we talking about, Katsu the Gamer? Are we talking about Yuta or Sukuna? Because it's true for both. My biggest fear for Yuta and all the heavy hitters is that Sukuna still has this hidden technique and this unexplained fire arrow that it just feels like that's going to come out and body somebody. Now, unfortunately, today on the stream, it is just me for now. We'll see. I might be able to pull someone in here. I know, very disappointing, but we'll make do. What do you think about the theory of Gojo's revival by Shoko and Urahime? With Gojo's revival, okay, I do think there is a greater than 0% chance that Gojo comes back now. I still think it's highly unlikely, but I wouldn't completely rule it out as a factor in the story. Yuta either gets hyped to holy hell or people dog walk him like he is trash. My boy got it rough. That is a true statement, Tiberius. Also, Tiberius is another content creator. I don't know if he's uploaded in a bit. Let me check. But if you guys like Jujutsu Kaisen content, check him out. Shoko is mid. I mean, that's a true statement. Shoko is pretty mid, especially since her big claim to fame is healing people with RCT. But at this point, who are you really going to deliver to Shoko? Anybody that Shoko gets is going to be a diced up corpse at this point. Gojo coming back as a cursed corpse. Thoughts on Yuta copying Sukuna's CT? I think he's going to copy a part of it. I doubt he's going to copy the entire thing outright, but I do think that Yuta will be able to copy a part of Sukuna's CT. That's kind of his whole shtick, isn't it? What else is he going to copy? Well, I guess he could copy the students. Yuta's about to punk this chump. One can dream. One can dream. So it looks like the majority of people think that Yuta is going to get bodied here, and I can't blame them. Things are looking pretty rough for Yuta, especially after Gojo lost. I mean, what chance does Yuta really have in that case, right? Just out of curiosity, Quirkless, how old do you think Sukuna was when he got converted to a cursed object? This is a good question. I think Sukuna was probably in his late 30s. I mean, if you just look at him, he doesn't look that old. He looks pretty deformed, obviously. He could be a little bit different because he's not entirely human, but I would probably say like 30s or 40s. Goat streaming, you think Yuta will use Angel CT? Hello, enemy stand user. Another wonderful content creator for Jujutsu Kaisen. And that's a good point, actually. He could use Angel CT, but the way Angel makes it sound is that she's pretty much utterly useless for combat now. So if you just give Yuta her CT, it's just going to be another Inumaki situation where he just takes a technique and makes it better than it ever was. Yuta is about to get dog walked. Brutal. What are the odds Yuta awakening and surpassing Sukuna and possibly Sukuna, but ultimately not being able to win somehow? I don't think Yuta's ever going to surpass Sukuna, personally. I just don't think that's in the cards for Yuta as a character this late in the story. If this was JJK0, or if Yuta was built up as the main character as Gege originally intended, I would agree. But Yuta right now, he's kind of getting his big fight here. Like, this is Yuta's moment. Oh, to be his blackout. Oh. Oh, we're back. I think we just got a cut here. Sorry about that. All right, where were we? Yeah, so Gojo versus Sukuna. Am I going to make a video on the full fight? Probably once Jujutsu Kaisen is over. It's a pretty toxic topic in general, but overall, Sukuna versus Gojo, we kind of like... It's not my favorite fight in the series. I wanted to see Forearm Sukuna versus Gojo. But when you're looking at the overall fight, there's a lot of misconceptions that I would like to go over, but a lot of the misconceptions aren't really popular. Like, you know, sometimes the truth is just not popular, and I've said my piece on Gojo versus Sukuna. I don't really care personally that much who's the stronger of the two characters, but a lot of people get really pressed about this. And sometimes I like to keep my content more in the theory side of things, like, you know, just some general talk, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'll probably still make a video, all that being said. Because who can't, like, Gojo is just the Jujutsu Kaisen video. The video topic for everybody. It always has been. Quirkless, Maguna versus Heian Sukuna, no world slash. We don't even know what Heian Sukuna has for a technique right now, besides cleave and dismantle. I'm probably going to wait, before I make any opinions on that, I'll wait to see everything this guy's got in store. Quirkless Shinobi, nobody talking about how Rika probably ate Kenjaku's body part and Yuta has curse manipulation. He probably did eat Kenjaku's body part. I don't know what curse spirits he'd be manipulating that Sukuna's not just going to chop in half, but it would be kind of interesting if he pulled out this giant curse spirit that didn't just get truck cummed. Sukuna has all four hands tied up. Ui Ui, or Wee Wee, as some people were telling me is the proper pronunciation. Teleporting Maki behind Sukuna, or she hops out of Rika's mouth would be ideal. Yeah, Maki hopping out of Rika's mouth. I can't lie, that's not a situation I predicted, personally, but I'm down for it. That sounds pretty cool. Yuta dies, Maki picks up Rika, and she becomes Queen of Curses, technically. Yeah, maybe Maki becomes the Queen of Curses. She kind of is. Queen of Heavenly Restriction. Something like that. Quirkless, considering what shrines are meant for, what if the censored word with open is Heaven's Gate or Pantheon, and he taps into the source of CTs, since domains are religious hand signs? You see, I do feel like Sukuna's technique is going to be divine in some way, either literally or just have a ton of references to it, because once we get the actual... Well, we know the name is Shrine. We know that his whole open thing is an intentionally... It's intentionally hidden. So shrines are historically used for both, you know, places of worship, obviously, but also having a weapon storage. So if it is a bunch of weapons stored, if he has this giant technique that just has a stockpile of pseudo-divine weaponry, I think that'd be pretty cool. And he's pulling it from the Pantheon, or he's pulling it from the Curse Realm. I've definitely had a similar thought before, Top Hat. Will Yuji get a huge power boost, or will Sukuna lose to a much weaker Yuji? And friends, likely. This is a good question. Usually with Yuji, it's kind of hard to tell how strong he is right now. We don't know the full kit he's going in with. He learned RCT in 1 month, and that's a pretty incredible feat. It's not as incredible as it used to be. Like, if this was a year ago and Yuta just popped off with a giant RCT showcase, people would be all over it. But these days, it's more like, you know, just a standard power-up, because not having RCT means you get Higurumed. What CT do you think Yuta used when he appeared? The ground was lifted up, maybe some anti-gravity reversal or some other technique that has attraction. Blue. Appreciate the shout-out, by the way, bro. Like the stream. And thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, that's a great point. Anti-gravity. I didn't really think about the anti-gravity with the Yuji or Yuta, but he might have anti-gravity if he ate Kenjaku's brain. Man, if Rika actually ate Kenjaku's brain, that's cold. That would go hard. But yeah, again, guys, check out Tiberius. He is a great content creator, and he's been here a lot and been very polite. So I appreciate that more than anything. And speaking of other content creators, Eternal Flame, thank you again for being a member. OMG, my fave streamer Quirkless is streaming. Actually, Eternal Flame, I need another person for this stream. If you want to hop in later, if you're not busy, feel free. Just DM me. Because otherwise, I'm going to be here until I'm out of breath. Thoughts on Weeb Shinobi related theory? Gojo binding vow one of his 6 eyes to bring back Nobara. I don't think we're going to see any crazy theories go off in this series anymore. I think the only seriously cooked theories that might come true anymore are things surrounding Yuji and Sukuna. Because at this point, JJK, we are just sprinting towards the end. And it's not that there isn't complexity in JJK, it's just that a lot of the answers to major cooked theories are usually pretty simple, in my experience. Like, I think the biggest plot twist in the whole series so far has been Megumi getting taken over by Sukuna. Damn, Geto really had no domain. No RCT or domain. He deserved better. Yeah, Geto's pretty fodder these days. Yeah, I will go out and say that. Geto is pretty fodder. Alright, Eternal Flame, you say you'd be down, but your computer's having some issues right now. That is fair. Yeah, I had a bit of OBS issues earlier anyways, so I feel you. And Tostado, welcome to the Quirkless Sorcerers. Thank you very much, and thank you for your continued support. Eternal Flame should definitely join in. See, they want you in, Eternal Flame. Special grade Geto. Yeah, Geto being special grade is such a joke at this point. Like, at this, I think we can pretty confidently say that all the characters right now, their curse energy refinement has become so impressive that they're just bodying the disaster curses. It's just a joke. It's a joke at this point. Geto slams half of the culling games. Yeah, but I mean, Kashimo slams half of the culling games. And Kashimo got utterly cracked on by Sukuna. Geto really just got power creeped. If he was still alive, he'd probably have a domain. And maybe he even did have a domain. And he just wasn't going all out against young sorcerers. But still. Poor Geto. Kenjaku just took his body and did more with it than he ever could. What if the black box is a curse, similar to Rika, but it's like etched in your brain, or like it's part of Sukuna's right side brain, which is why he has a cover on it? I'm curious. I think the whole cover on Sukuna's face is just a scar or something like that. There's probably gonna be a story behind it, but some part of him that didn't heal. That would be the most generic thing, but sometimes it's just how JJK is. As for the black box, I made a whole black box theory on it being a black box system, which is kind of what they compare it to, as in he might be able to tap into this and pull techniques from the cursed realm with some stipulation that we currently don't know about. Megumi and Sukuna split. Yuji eats Sukuna's finger from the hand that Sukuna cut off. Yuji and Sukuna fight inside of Sukuna, and this time Yuji wins. If there is another battle inside of Sukuna, it's probably going to go on a bit longer than last time, considering Yuji got one shot. Man, I mean, the balls on Yuji to just say, I'll fight you, dude, and get chopped in half. I mean, maybe it's less balls, more so just stupidity, but... Heian era prequel series or mini arc? Hey, I'm always looking for the prequel series for the Heian era. I think the Heian era has a lot of potential for its own series, but JJK as a whole has some pretty excellent world building, and I really hope to see some continued series on it, because if Gege Akatame really wanted Jujutsu Kaisen to be like, 50% of what Naruto grew to be, they probably could. They probably get there. I mean, JJK is huge right now, especially after the anime. But I do fear it's going to be one of those series that kind of, people love it while it's out and it finishes, and then people kind of just forget about it because it doesn't necessarily have the staying power of some other series, though I think it could. Quirkless was right. The Hollow Purple theme is hyped to lift to. Yes, it is. It definitely is. Great workout song. Boku no Color for $2. Can't stay at work. Have a great stream, my guy. Thank you so much for the super chat. And guys, check out Boku no Color on Twitter. I have a link for him in the description. He did some of the artwork you see on screen right now. He does amazing colorings. I check every single one. Top of the line stuff. Let's see. Quirk, considering how incarnation is a sin for Angel, what if Sukuna's body and fallen title came from incarnating a deceased person into his body? Toji came back after he ingested a part of him. Incarnating a deceased person into his body. The body horror aspect of Sukuna. That's a pretty good thing to bring up here. But I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be that cooked. He could have multiple people in him. He could just have this whole, body horror aspect. But when it comes to Sukuna, it kind of just feels like the thing that Angel's referring to is just you overriding the soul of somebody, which in itself is pretty terrifying. Your Battle is My Battle goes hard. That's my personal favorite Jujutsu Kaisen song. That one has a lot of emotion behind it. I want to see Yuta combine copied curse techniques. We might be able to see it. You might be onto something there. There's a pretty high possibility of that. What about Takava? Is he dead? Nah, Takava's just chilling. I wouldn't worry about him. Takava's doing great. So I'm going to put a poll in chat here. I'm curious. Do we think that current Yuji bodies Jogo and Mahito 2v1? Let's see, current Yuji. Does current Yuji beat Jogo and Mahito? I think he slams them, personally. I think a Black Flash goes hard and he dominates. Gotta sort that phone. Uro technique will deflect the world bisector. Yes, I think she might. I think Uro technique might actually come in clutch for Yuta here. Being able to, any type of spatial manipulation is pretty OP in anything it's in. And her technique, even though it's not really good for direct confrontation in terms of dealing damage, unless you count Thin Ice Missile, which gets used once and then never again, it's probably one of the best options you can use against a Dismantle or Cleave. The issue with Yuji versus any high-tier character is domains. Okay, I'm going to go out on a headcanon limb here, but if Yuji has reverse curse technique, there is no way this guy does not have new shadow style. At least. Like, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe that Yuji Itadori would get reverse curse technique and not have, like, a hollow wicker basket. I know they don't use that anymore, but you get my point. And Jogo could, what's the domain of Jogo really going to do? Jogo couldn't even one-shot Nanami. I mean, he effectively one-shot him, but he was still alive. Maybe a Maximum Meteor. Gege handing out RCT like he's Oprah. Yeah, that's a true statement, like he's Oprah. That's pretty funny. At least to me. Yeah, I can confirm Yuji have domain amplification too. While we're at it, let's just say he has domain expansion. It's just headcanon all the way. But seriously, when it comes to Yuji, him having RCT, I don't think it's much of a limb to go out on to say he has a domain counter, even a basic one. Like, if this kid is learning RCT over having a simple domain counter when the whole plan was to go fight Ryoma and Sukuna, they really had to, maybe the incorrect priorities here. Just my thought. Having Kusakabe as a teacher to me is an indicator of Yuji being able to use the new shadow style. See, that's what I'm thinking as well. Having Kusakabe as your teacher, that guy is the new shadow style king. Unless you count Gojo. What if Sukuna has access to Chimera Shadow Garden? Sukuna might not even have access to 10 shadows anymore, so I don't think we're going to see a Chimera Shadow Garden from him. And if we do, they're screwed. I don't see them beating that. If Yuji had a domain expansion, what would it even be? A nursing home. It's a reflection of his soul. It's a nursing home for his grandpa. They just put old man Sukuna in the home. Sure hit. Send him to his room. 1 month of training goes a long way, especially in JJK. True statement. Yeah, these characters are a lot stronger in the past 1 month, Gojo included. Like, everybody did training. Even if you compare Gojo to pre-Prison Realm feats, he himself is superior, just in hand-to-hand. Like, back in Shibuya, Gojo was still him in Shibuya, but Gojo's hand-to-hand feats, if this was modern Gojo, he would just be bodying Jogo in a punch. There would be no, oh, I'll make sure to exercise him. He'd just die. It would be a movie theater for Yuji's domain expansion. Yeah, I hope if he ever does get a domain expansion, it is just something goofy. Might as well. Let's see, the Benevolent Shrine. Yeah, if it's actually Benevolent Shrine. I know that's a huge meme, but honestly, if you want to have these two be polar opposites, the Benevolent Shrine would go pretty hard. Yuji's domain is just Hunger Games. Everyone out here with the Yuji domain theories now. Did you see the sketch of Yuji mentioning how young he feels? Does that confirm soul swap? I think it definitely confirms body swap, which is, effectively soul swap. Yeah, I think the whole soul swap, I don't have a lot to say on soul swap because the story itself doesn't have a lot to say on the soul swap. We see it for like one panel, everybody jumps on it, and then we never see it again. We have to save Megami. Agreed. Megami's freedom is top priority. If they get Megami in control of Sukuna's body, they beat him. Or they can at least stop him temporarily here. In fact, that might be their best win con. Benevolent Shrine equals heal everything and anything. I just can't believe in soul swap. Yeah, I don't know if it's a legitimate soul swap, but Geto did say, not Geto, excuse me, Kenjaku said that he and Takaba, while Takaba was utilizing his technique, they were in this combined soul resonance. So if it's more like their souls are in sync, that makes a little more sense to me. And if their souls are trying to resonate with each other, and that's just a side effect of it, they can swap bodies effectively, that makes more sense for them trying to get Yuta out. Megami. Because if you can resonate your soul with Megami, just pull him out. Or get him to the surface. Honestly, though, I feel like Yuji won't ever learn domain expansion, but will learn to be OP without it. Yeah, I kind of agree, Marcus, that it is seeming more and more like Yuji is just going to have basic cursed energy manipulation the whole series. Or whatever he does use is going to be some supreme art of cursed energy manipulation that Sukuna shows him. Because for a long time, people thought that Sukuna's CT, Cleave and Dismantle, it might be a quote-unquote technique, but it's more of a cursed energy manipulation until we actually have... Because it's pretty simple, right? It's really him just slashing people with cursed energy. Yeah, Yuji is like Rock Lee. Yeah, hopefully he does more than Rock Lee does, though. Poor old Rock Lee. Supreme Black Flash. Yeah, Supreme Black Flash. Black Flash goes hard. Anime Balls Deep said that Gojo might return. What do I think? I think a lot of people say Gojo might return. And with the recent chapter, people are jumping on it even more because they had like one Gojo mention. And that's really all it takes for theories to go crazy. I'm not counting on it because even if I think there are some hints now they could bring back Gojo. Like, what's Gojo gonna do if he comes back? Really, is he gonna come back to fight again? Like another 12 chapter fight? Is he gonna come back to body somebody? I just feel like if Gojo was gonna come back, his fight wouldn't have ended the way it did. Because it's not like some big cliffhanger that he's gonna come back, you know? It's not your standard anime. Yuji is like gone. Yeah, Yuji is kind of like gone. Yuji's pretty standard in the terms of left, right, good night, as most shonen protagonists can be. Bro gonna get turned into a stool again. Yeah. Gojo comes back in the latest chapter in a wheelchair. Maybe. If they are bringing him back to life, it's gotta be like one horrific ritual going on. Because that guy was looking pretty rough when he died. Who wins, current Sukuna or current Shigaraki? I don't know how strong current Shigaraki is. I've never power scaled My Hero in my life. I just read it. I saw the big lights with Endeavor, and I was like, that looks cool. What if Yuji can expand his domain, even a simple domain, at the rate of a Black Flash, buffing the hell out of it? If he can expand at the rate of a Black Flash, I don't really know what it's going to do for him. First of all, we don't even know if he has a domain, and a simple domain, he just wouldn't get caught in a sure hit. Someone is 100% dying next chapter based on the way Gege's editor was looking at some panel. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of options for people to die. I mean, Kusakabe is right there. And as much as I love Kusakabe, okay, he is fodder. He knows he's fodder, and that's why I love him. But he is fodder. I mean, he's him, but he's fodder. You know, if he doesn't have, he's not anime protag. It's unfortunate, but it's reality. I think Yuta will force Sukuna far enough for Sukuna to reveal his technique. That's my feeling as well. I feel exactly the same way, that this is really where we're going to have to see Sukuna's technique. Because it's either going to be them, it's going to be the heavy hitters, or Yuji, and the heavy hitters just seem like the best opportunity for it. Especially now that he wants to start the merger. Supercam, sorry for $5, thank you very much. Asks, sorry if this is obvious, but why couldn't Gojo RCT after the space slash if he was using it constant in the domains and was amped from Black Flashes? Well, the thing with RCT, nobody's ever regrown half their body. Nobody. Not Sukuna, not Gojo. The most you've ever seen is like an arm. I think Yuki had like the most brutal. Either that or Gojo getting chopped up. But as far as like regrowing over half of your lower body, nobody's done that. And his core of curse energy was cut right. Yeah. Yeah, Gojo was on a Black Flash amp, but I'm pretty sure as far as, surviving goes, getting chopped in half, it definitely hurts your amp. It definitely gets you out of the zone. Because when it comes to, like, when you utilize a Black Flash, it puts you into, like, the athletic zone, you know? Something that, the gamer zone, if you will. And your manipulation goes up, your ability to focus goes up, but getting chopped in half probably hurts that a lot. And Hikari regen feats do go crazy, but even he hasn't revived from the extent that Gojo did. And his RCT has been presented as better. How will Yuta escape Sukuna's slash? Excellent question. I think we'll have to wait and see. Though I will say the spatial manipulation of Uro's technique could prove pretty useful. And besides that, whatever else Yuta has in store, there's also the fact that Sukuna likes to play with his food, and he said as much at this point. Do you think current Yuji can beat Jogo or Mahito? I think current Yuji Black Flashes them into orbit. I think he bodies them. Yuji's arms are strong enough to tank a dismantle straight up. No damage. And we don't even know what else he can do. And he learned RCT in 1 month. And when Higuruma got absolutely tossed by Sukuna, Kusakabe made a point to say, Yuji, Itadori, go after him, because Yuji was probably the only one there that stood a chance of survival. Besides, Maki, Yuta, and Hikari. I think Yuji at this point is probably one of the unlisted heavy hitter, the write-in. Yuta has more curse energy than Sukuna at the moment. I mean, we don't actually know that. Probably. But we don't know for sure. We don't know how much curse energy he actually spent on his domains. For all we know, Sukuna could open up like 40 domains in a day. But I wouldn't be surprised if... I assume Yuta has more right now, just because of the extent that Gojo pushed Sukuna. To be honest, I don't want Yuta to get eaten. I have bad news for you. He's probably going to get eaten. No, actually, I think Hikari is more likely to get eaten here. Hikari is going to regenerate in Sukuna's stomach. That's my official prediction. Like the bottom half of Hikari is going to get eaten, and he's going to be like, I'm not like Gojo. He's going to grow back. What's the point of eating Yuta? I mean, why does Sukuna eat anybody? Because it tastes good. In his own words. Weeks before, but nothing like this. Never for 3 weeks and then into immediate break. I have an issue with OBS today. He's going to open his jackpot inside of Sukuna's tummy. Yeah. That has to be a pretty, Just out of curiosity, is the stream interrupting for people here? Because it's interrupting on my end. I'll make sure it's not doing this to everybody. How will Sukuna even understand Hikari's domain? It kind of uploads itself into your brain, doesn't it? Yeah, it's buffering a bit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. Sorry, guys. It may be Quirkle's error. I'm not sure, or it could just be YouTube, or it could just be OBS. The Executioner's Blade may work like Resonance, Higuruma stabbing the hand that was cut off, but Resonance would kick in and hit the soul to make that hand gone, unless he keeps it up with RCT. Interesting theory, but I think the Executioner's Blade is just done for now. Let's see here. 249 is Gojo comeback. Okay, if Gojo comes back, there's like a 0% chance that it's going to be next chapter. It's just way too soon. It would also take away from Yuta's whole deal here. Could flames be the reverse of Urame's ice formation? Judging by the fact Sukuna can learn things by watching, and Urame would just teach him. I think it's his own technique. I think it's something completely separate. I think Urame is just our local ice mage. I'm getting conflicting things here. The stream is perfect for one person, and it's interrupting for other people. Whatever. We'll deal with it as time comes. How will Megami be saved? I'm imagining it's going to have to do with Yuji's soul resonance. I can't really think of another option. Either that, or they just chop his head off and, liberate him from life. Liberating him from life sounds like a pretty effective way to save Megami. My Insta feed is filled with JJK lobotomy analysis memes. I don't really use Instagram that much, but You have to explain that one a little bit more to me. Hello, Quirkless. Hello, Caleb. Megami is gone after those unlimited voids. According to who? Who said that? I would like to see a single panel of anyone saying that Megami is gone or dead. Because I hear this all the time that like, oh, Megami is dead, Megami has been killed, but legitimately nobody in the story has said this. Is Maki hiding in Rika like Toji's cursed spirit? What is up with people like wanting people to be in the bodies of other people to pop out? It's the third time I've heard this today. Maybe. It's a definite maybe. Let's see. Are you playing a video game? I hear that controller clicking. No, you're hearing my glasses clicking. That's what you're hearing. My computer glasses, so I don't get eye strain from staring at this monitor. That is what you're hearing. I also just have ADHD, so I'm constantly fidgeting with something. Thank you for noticing, though. Choso is still alive, right? Definite maybe. I mean, he looked pretty gutted, but besides that, should be fine. I think at the end, Yuji will break after hosting 100 million people's cursed energy and beat Sukuna and Gojo. Megami Navarro will come back right at the end. Sukuna and Gojo, Megami and Navarro will come back right at the end. What is up with people in Navarro? Navarro, I think she's just gone, guys. I'm just gonna put it in the official bin. Nobara is gone. It's over. She's done. If she was going to come back, she would have come back already. That's where I'm at. Where could Sukuna's last finger be, and what purpose will it play out? I'm guessing it's going to be Yuji. I made a video on this. That it's going to be Yuji is the last finger, and that Sukuna is, he's like, oh, Gojo probably has it, but it's just a red herring there. Toto is gone too. Put him in the back. And yeah, but Toto's alive, okay? At least Toto is actually alive. Nobara got blown up pretty much. Her eyeball got blown up. And then the other guy that got blown up got turned into a curse tool. And really, the only thing you need from Nobara is her curse tool. So maybe they just turned her into that. They just have like a giant rusty nail that they're going to send to people. Sorry for the question, but how did Choso escape Yuki's black hole? They opened up a little thing in the Sunyata barrier of Tengen, and they dropped him in, and Yuki told him, oh, I need you to go and live as a human now instead of a cursed spirit. And they opened up the barrier and tossed him to protagonist status. They sent him straight to the protagonist department. Turned her into a Home Depot budget hammer. I almost worked at Home Depot a long time ago. Definitely sold those Novara hammers. The Nobara hammer curse tool. Honestly, if she turns into a hammer, she'd probably be fine with that. Can Nobara bring back Gojo? Nobara can't even bring back herself, okay? Nobara isn't bringing back anybody. Quirkless, who is your genuine favorite in the series? Yuji. By far, Yuji. I think Yuji has a lot of depth to him. It's either him or Megami. I like Sukuna for the influence he has on those two characters, but overall, I just think Yuji and Megami have so much depth to them in the story, especially the more you read it. And they're even more interesting when you go on a reread. Sukuna is a cool villain, He's a bit of a dork. You know, he has a lot of fans that love him just because he's powerful. Same with Gojo. But I think Yuji and Megumi, they're the characters I like in a story. I think Yuji fits the role of protagonist as a shonen character. He both fits the stereotype and doesn't. And it works for me. The more Megumi stocks rise, the lower Yuji stocks go. Yeah. That is true. Nanami wasn't turned into a curse tool, rather he used his technique through the weapon so much that his technique was imbued into it. I don't know if that's actually true, but I believe it. Seems pretty reasonable. Megami got no motion. Do you think the last finger has any importance in the future chapters? Yes. I think the last finger of Sukuna is the major plot point going towards the end of JJK. I think that is the biggest plot twist we're going to get. It's going to be around Kenjaku and Sukuna's last finger. Makima is messed up beyond Sukuna. Well, Makima isn't even human. It never was. If Yuji has blood manipulation, what if his blood is toxic to Sukuna? Toxic blood was like Witcher black blood. I mean, toxic blood's a pretty cool ability. Toxic blood is a pretty interesting power set. I don't really know how that would work against Sukuna, though. Like, what's he going to do? Just get beaten to death by Sukuna and just bleed all over him? That sounds like a pretty ineffective game plan. There was a character like that in the anime Darker Than Black that he would use like his own blood to detonate it with like a snap of his fingers. It's pretty edgy, but yeah, tossing your blood at somebody to blow them up. Well, Choso and Kamo both got poison blood. Yeah, but Sukuna, it's Sukuna. Darker Than Black is dope. Tiberius knows about Darker Than Black. First person I've ever met knows what I'm talking about. That is an old series. Great soundtrack, though. Yeah, he did that to Naoya. But Naoya is fodder. And Sukuna is also not entirely human. And he's also the king of curses. And recently, some people were talking that the king of poisons, or the whole poison aspect of his power set, is not a mistranslation. I just don't see you beating Sukuna with a little poison dagger, that's all. Or like by bleeding on him. You bleed on Sukuna, dude. That's how we get him, guys. We just need to get a bunch of dangerous, toxic curse spirit blood and just drain them on him. You watched Darker Than Black? I didn't just watch Darker Than Black. I named my Xbox Live gamer tag when I was 12 after Darker Than Black. I called myself the Reaper BK201. That's how deep we were. Listen, okay, it was pretty cringe, but I'd do it again. When will you reveal your face? Probably will do a face reveal eventually. Probably once JJK is over and I start moving into other content. If people even watch, but you know. That's how it is sometimes. Darker Than Black as a title should give you a hint of that edgy level. Yeah, alright. Let's talk about Darker Than Black for 2 seconds here. Darker Than Black is certainly one of the edgiest series, and it's a great series, though you should, if you like cool animation, some cool combat scenes. Maybe the animation doesn't hold up that well anymore. It is from 2007. But I thought it was pretty good. I'd still suggest it, though I have a lot of nostalgia around that series, so maybe I'm blinded. What are you getting into after JJK? Excellent question. I'll probably talk about anything, you know. I don't really know who's going to stay around. I think a lot of people try to move on to like another anime niche. I might just start a new channel entirely. We'll see. I used to do a lot more than just anime. Not on this channel, but back in the day, I used to Twitch stream quite a bit. Do you read Sakamoto? I do read Sakamoto a little bit. Streaming more? It seems you recently began streaming. I actually used to stream games all the time on Twitch way back when. I used to stream The Witcher a ton, but back in like 2015 when that game was coming out. Do One Punch Man, one video a month if luck is on the viewer's side. Yeah, I will probably cover One Punch Man. I know that Zonin and I have talked about One Punch Man quite a bit, and he's really into that series, and it's a series that I've been into for a long time. So One Punch Man, definitely. How old are you? I am 26, so ancient, basically. Basically dead. You know Zonin? I do know Zonin. Really nice guy. We've done a few collabs, never, not on my channel. Probably will eventually, if I ask him to. We were actually all talking about Anime Expo recently. The one in LA. Are you from the Heian era? God, I hope not. Basically Sukuna's age. Yeah, dude, I'm basically 1026. Basically the same thing, you know? You're basically dead. I basically died and came back already. Bro's from the Heian era. Yeah, alright, guys. If anybody asks me how old I am, I'm just going to say I'm from the Heian era from now on. Weren't y'all in a weekly domain? I've been on quite a few channels. I think a weekly domain, that's No Ops channel, right? That's what he calls it. Or used to. Do you read Kagurabachi? I do not read Kagurabachi. Kagurabachi? Is that how you say it? Do you think Yuji is going to have a Shikigami? Probably not. I hope not. I don't really know how a Yuji would really benefit from a Shikigami. Yeah, I've been on if that's No Op, is what Tiberius is saying, yeah. I have been on No Op's channel a few times. You gonna play JJK Curse Clash? Most likely. JJK Curse Clash. I used to love fighting games, especially arena fighters, though I'm gonna be honest, JJK Curse Clash looks a little ass. Okay. Like, I don't know what's going on with those PS2 graphics, but Naruto Storm 2, the recent Naruto Storm games, they should just given them to CyberConnect. I forget who's doing them this time. Quirkless, Sukuna teleportation into the sun, sacrifice, Ui Ui, or Wee Wee. Sukuna teleportation into the sun sacrifice for chapter 250. I hope so. Honestly, guys, the instant teleportation, martyring yourself for the cause, teleport Sukuna into the sun. If it is instant, if he is capable of teleporting around, just do it. Curse Clash should have been a 2D fighter like Dragon Ball FighterZ. You know what? Actually, I agree. 2D fighters are usually better. Curse Clash looks cheeks. Yeah, Curse Clash is cool because it's like the only fighting game we've ever got for Jujutsu Kaisen. But Naruto got like 15. I remember I bought a PS2. My sister and I, we were sitting there. We were dying to play a Naruto fighting game. We were both so into Naruto, and we played like the shitty GameCube one. And we finally got, my parents blessed us with a PlayStation 2 after years. And we got to play Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. And it was running around the Leaf Village. Jujutsu Kaisen has never gotten anything like that. Do we get leaks tonight? No. We get them next week. I want a JJK MMO. But actually good. Yeah. JJK MMO. I don't even know how that would work. Let's see. Do I read Solo Leveling? I've heard the name. Never read it though. Your opinion, Sukuna might eat Rika or Yuta. This supports interviewers' reactions to that panel. Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to eat Rika. I doubt he's gonna eat Yuta. Yuta isn't necessarily too important to die, but Sukuna just outright eating the prior protagonist, that's a little much. Just eat his friend instead. Ultimate Ninja Storm, that's PS3. Is it? I guess I'm gonna get mixed up. The anime I plan to watch are Yu Yu Hakusho, Gintama, Soul Eater, Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist. Are these good choices? I have seen all but Gintama on that. They are all good. Code Geass is a good anime. It's a little outdated now with its animation, but the overall story, especially the beginning of it, where this rebellion is taking place, I thought it was really good. Granted, I haven't seen it in like a decade. Yuta having to watch Rika get eaten is wild. Listen, okay. Having to watch Yuta get eaten sounds worse, alright? That's all I'm saying. My girl Maki will sneak Sukuna and cleave that soul. I think Maki is going to take off an arm. Sukuna has arms to spare. Just chop one off. And back to answer the rest of that question, Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist is one of the best shonen, in my opinion. One of the most unique settings for an anime. There really hasn't been anything like it since. All around, like the characters all around, well done. It has a little, it's a little too goofy in parts for me now when I went back to watch it, but I still think Full Metal Alchemist, when it's like going on, firing on all cylinders, it is top tier. I think Maki is going to jump Urame. Okay. Urame is boned. All right, she's done. Let's just remove them from the equation. King of Curses eats the queen of all curses. Do you like Hunter x Hunter? I do love Hunter x Hunter. Especially the Chimera Ant arc, which is a pretty common opinion, but yeah, Hunter x Hunter is a pretty good one. Current predictions for the Hikari fight. Hikari bodies. Like, there's no way this like little halfling ice wizard is gonna beat my boy Hikari. He's got Jordans. The Jordans are safe, guys. Like, what is she gonna beat our champion? I don't think so. I fear Hikari is on pack watch. If I on pack watch, you mean he's gonna pack up Urame? Yeah. Is Urame a fraud? Nah, Urame was just always weak. The only one that ever hyped up Urame was Kusakabe. I mean, they did have RCT, okay? I'm giving them a little too much. But getting absolutely decimated by Gojo in one punch, I know it's Gojo, but it still looks bad. It wasn't even a Black Flash. Quirkless, who do you think Urame is going to die against? Hikari, or is she going to go back to Sukuna for some reason? Oh, I think she just dies to Hikari. I mean, Sukuna did tank an entire Hall of Purple for her. But at the end of the day, she just doesn't have a huge place in JJK anymore. That's how I feel. Like, she's just there. She's a chef. She did her whole ritual thing. She gave him the bath. I mean, she has some information to spit, but besides that, just kill her. Oh, she definitely has a domain, Ghosty. All I'm saying is there's no way she doesn't have a domain. I agree. 100%. I just think Hikari is going to put her down regardless. Which has better fights, JJK or Hunter x Hunter? In my definitely not biased opinion, JJK. Because we all know that as a JJK content creator, I have the most unbiased anime choice, the most unbiased anime taste of all time. And nothing would sway me to any particular answer. Will Urame cook Rico? Okay, guys, chill. I don't think she's gonna get cooked. If he kills Rika, all right, he's gonna eat her on the spot like sushi. It's not gonna be like a Hell's Kitchen scenario where he just brings back Rika. He's like, oh, I want this to have like I want this garnished. I want it well done, okay? And like ask Urame to cook it up for him in the perfect way. Shibuya is twice as good as the Chimera Ant arc. I said it. You know what? I agree. Okay, that's my hot take. I think JJK is better than Hunter x Hunter. All right, I said it. The Zoldyck family, boring. I'm sure no one will get mad at that. Seen some fraud combos on Twitter about Yuta's domain. Does he actually have one? Listen, my boy Heavy Weather posted a pretty funny Twitter post about this, saying that Yuta pulling out his domain versus Uro and Ryu is like one guy pulling out $40 when two other people put up 20. Chimera Antarc was so long. It was long, and I think Chimera Antarc is really good when it's really good. But there's a lot of parts of the Chimera Antarc that are just not good. Or I shouldn't say they're bad. I should say that the pacing is just slow. So slow. Hunter x Hunter fans are knocking at your door. I'm sure they are. Quirkless, the most anticipated question: Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? Better Call Saul. I think Better Call Saul perfected what Breaking Bad did. And I loved Breaking Bad. I watched every episode. I remember 10 years ago, my friend and I had a watch party for that every night. It was coming out the last season. Right when we got out of high school. Good times, good times. Quirkless, who's your favorite Jogo? Or Jojo? Not Jogo. I was about to say my favorite Jogo is the Jogoat. My favorite Jojo is Joseph Joestar. I love part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, the Pillar Men, their theme song, every single part of it. JoJo's part 2, I know it has no stands. Okay, I know stands are a meme. But Haman may be a worse power set, but the characters, I just love Joseph Joestar. I love it. What can I say? And for my next trick, pulls out a Tommy gun. So imagine my excitement when I saw that in part 3, there was a dog with a human face, and there was also a return of Old Man Joseph. Awaken is my alarm clock. Awaken is so good. There are a lot of anime that I listened to the music of before I actually saw them. And the Pillarman theme is one of those moments. Can we discuss Gojo? What would you like to discuss about Gojo? Please steer the topic of conversation. what fear does Rika incarnate, or why is she so strong? I think part of Rika's incarnation and the reason she's so powerful is that Yuta is so powerful. Yuta himself is what bound Rika's soul. Everything around that, the power of Rika, it's really Yuta. That's what it's always felt like. He just took a human soul and amped it. Something about love is the greatest curse, that kind of stuff. I mean, we don't really get the whole mechanics behind binding someone's soul to reality, but it looks pretty OP given the one time we've seen it. Is Gojo's bottom half alive still? I mean, clearly. Why else would they take it away? They took both halves, guys. Okay, they're bringing Gojo back. I don't know why they would only take the bottom half or the top half if they weren't going to use both. Like, there's no way that dude's getting an open casket unless they have, like, well, I guess he could. Maybe they just want, like, the whole funeral. He should just create an army of OP curses. I don't think Yuta can just bind any Joe Blow's soul to Earth. That'd be pretty OP if he could. I think Yuta's domain isn't anything special. It's probably just a playground for Rika to boost her power or something. You might be onto something there. I think Rika kind of is Yuta's technique in a lot of ways, or she's part of it. I mean, clearly she's part of it. But the full extent of Rika, the full extent of Yuta, his domain expansion is kind of what we're waiting for here, right? I hope it's not a disappointment. We've definitely had characters like Yuki who just die before we get to see their domain. Do you think Nobara's hammer might have her technique? I hope so. Beating Sukuna to death with a Nobara hammer sounds pretty funny. Do you think Go will grow back Joe, or Joe will grow back Go? That's an excellent question. One for scholars, really. I definitely think the chances of if he grows back from, there might be two Gojos. You never know. They're going to heal both halves and just make like two whole new Gojos. Hammer of that lost finger. Last finger. Don't remind me of Yuki's death. I'm sorry. It had to be done. Two Gojos. Yeah, guys. You know what's more dangerous than one Gojo? Both of them heal. Both halves heal into two full men to fight Sukuna. You heard it here first. Merged Chimera Beast Gojo. Yeah, listen, guys. They're not bringing back Gojo. They're bringing back something else made from Gojo. It's going to be some giant, like, Hulk beast. Some Franken beast. Sukuna will never see it coming. Is Ino special grade? I mean, we saw like one showcase from Ino and he got a critical hit that didn't damage Sukuna, but not damaging Sukuna isn't exactly an anti-feat. Yeah, we have Go and Joe rise from the dead to fight Sukuna. Listen, guys, if Jujutsu Kaisen ends with Go and Joe coming back to life to fight Sukuna, I am here for it, okay? As dumb as it may be, I'd watch. I'd read. I'd make theories. I'd cover the whole fight. You'd see me with so much fervor. You'd never believe it. Yeah, and then you get to have all the power scaling fights of Gojo's top half versus his body half. Who'd win? One of them has red, one of them has blue, exclusively. Don't ask me the mechanics behind that. That was a weird poll question. Yeah. Sometimes I just like to hear that Mahito gets bodies. Does that mean Gojo is Joko, but Joko is not Gojo? What have I done? What have I turned the stream into? We are proving the lobotomy Kaisen is real. It's always been real. You just haven't believed. It never went away. It's been here the whole time. Ino is cooking his honored one moment. Just wait. Okay. If any character in Jujutsu Kaisen is getting an honored one moment, it's not going to be Ino. Do you think Kenjaku is really dead? You know, I do think he's really dead. Am I happy that he's really dead? Not particularly. I mean, I never really was a massive fan of Kenjaku, but it does feel a little anticlimactic the way he went out. If this is where he died. Miwa will solo Sukuna. Oh, definitely. For sure. Strongest female in JJK. It gotta be Maki or Yuki. Actually, I'd probably put it as Yuki. Are we talking about currently alive or overall? Having a black hole is pretty OP. Like, I don't think anybody's going to beat a black hole in Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that's the strongest ability we're going to have for a very long time. Is it possible Maki is stored inside Rika's storage to jump out? Oh my god, this is the third or fourth person to ask this. It is definitely possible. We're going to write that one down as a definite maybe. It definitely might happen. Everyone saw the anime. They saw Mahito come out of like his own little worm mouth. Why would Sukuna agree with the merger plan? Maybe he just wants to fight the merger creature. Because that's kind of what it sounds like here. Existence slash versus black hole. Black hole. I mean, black hole still kills Sukuna here. He hasn't shown anything to survive that. Don't get me wrong. The space cleave, the space dismantle is OP. It's definitely OP. Certified overpowered. But a black hole is a black hole. Like, the galaxy's just gone. Or I should say, at the very least, the solar system. Maybe not the galaxy. Listen, I'm not an astronomer, okay? I'm not a physicist. Sometimes I spout nonsense. It's just true. But at least the planet. I know enough about black holes to say the planet is done. Can we agree that Sukuna learning a new technique when he was about to lose is a cheap move? I mean, not when it's his whole plan. I mean, Gojo learned a new application of his technique at the last minute, too. Can Maharaga adapt to a black hole? I mean, maybe, but either way, he's going to be pretty lonely after. He might be able to. I don't know about his... Whoever summoned him is just gone. It's like, oh man, guys, Maharaga survived. Everybody else is just gone. Can we agree Sukuna is ugly? No. You'll get nothing from me. Nah, I'd use anti-gravity, Kenjaku. Yeah, Kenjaku did kind of just pop off with the anti-gravity and say, hey, you know that really overpowered ability you just used? Let's just ignore that. Let's just get rid of it and then kill you so you can't ever do it again. There are a lot of characters in fiction who might counter a black hole, but a meta existence slash is an instant kill. So in a 1v1, it might be more potent. Okay, yeah. There are characters in fiction that can counter pretty much everything. But a black hole, like, for all intents and purposes, a black hole is game. Because even if you win, most people got their house on Earth, alright? You just made somebody homeless. And that's the real victory. Sukuna will cut the space-time reality surrounding the black hole. I mean, as far as I know, the brain needs oxygen, okay? So unless he can actually get rid of the black hole entirely, it's over. Like, even if you win, you lose. Planet's gone. Why isn't Yuta spamming all his copy techniques? He can overwhelm any opponent, but opts to use sword slashing. Well, nobody spams techniques in this series, really. Well, nobody but Sukuna. They kind of made a point that, you know, using your techniques is draining after a while. Using curse energy, constantly manipulating it. You know, these guys aren't robots. They're human beings. And while they do have superpowers, effectively, they can't just infinitely fight. Not even Gojo. Even the Six Eyes tire out the user eventually. Even with RCT on your brain. Do you think the leaked panel theory with Rika holding Yuta's slash body? If Rika is just cradling Yuta, man, why does everybody hate on Yuta? I think he's gonna give a better show than anybody expected. Well, maybe not anybody, because there are some pretty insane Yuta fans out there, but most people. Do you think there was a condition to Sukuna's black box technique? Almost certainly. Like, I'd say almost guaranteed. It kind of has to, right? Maybe it's a dangerous thing to do. Maybe he just likes to do it to show off. Or maybe he's just hiding it. But they've already kind of implied there's a stipulation to this. Who is going to get eaten next chapter? Probably Rika. If anybody gets eaten next chapter, it's probably going to be Rika. Yuta is definitely doing better than Kashimo. Oh, for sure. Kashimo got bodied. Okay, listen. I love Kashimo. I loved Me Lightning Man. But he got bodied. Undeniably. Fodder. He got fodderized. He got outscaled. He got cliffed already. It's over. The agenda is dead. And so is he. Uwe Uwe is the major character to get eaten. Okay, listen. If he does get eaten, he can still martyr himself. Just take Sukuna with you. Like, while it's happening. You got him close. Just do it. Jobber, man. Yeah. Kashimo was the most glorious jobber I've ever seen. Like, people thought that Ryu was jobbing. Kashimo was actually the hype man. Can Rika die from RCT positive output? Potentially. There is some talk that Rika might not be the same now the cursed spirit itself is more like a Shikigami. But I do not think that things are as simple as just using an RCT on Rika. It'd be pretty lame, right? You just use some RCT on it and it just dies instantly. If Sukuna eats Rika, who can kill Sukuna? Well, it was never going to be Rika, so we're back to square one. Like, maybe it's just the framing of that question, but if Sukuna eats Rika, who can kill Sukuna? That makes it sound like you're saying that Rika is the only one that can kill Sukuna right now. Which is like, I mean, you still got Yuta left over. Who knows how strong he is without Rika, though. As far as we know, him using Rika doesn't really give him an amp. It just gives him access to the technique. Yuta's base is still pretty strong, and he's got friends. How do you think the soul versus body debate is going to factor into saving Megami? I think that is the whole deal on saving Megami. Getting his soul to the surface. If you do not bring back Megami, I don't see an easy win. I want to see Megami already. He's been sidelined for a year. He kind of has been, right? We're rapidly approaching the Chapter 212 anniversary. What do you think will happen to Megami? If he returns, he'll probably be some sort of evil or an antag. I don't think Megami's ever going to be evil. He might be depressed. Definitely be in a bad spot. Definitely need a pep talk from his friend Yuji. But I think Megami is emotionally tougher. He's made of tougher stuff than people give him credit for. And that's why Sukuna knew he couldn't dominate him easily. Will Yuji's soul swap to a final showdown in Sukuna's body? If Megami comes back, where will Yuji go? You see, that's an excellent point. Like, people say he's going to body swap all the time. I mean, that's just kind of death for Yuji. I know that he wants to die. I know he's totally fine with dying. But Yuji just teleporting into Sukuna to swap with Megami is a little ridiculous. What is Megami's best quality? I mean, I would say Megami's best quality is, he is altruistic. He's not altruistic in the same way that Yuji is, but he will save people he thinks, have a worth in the world. Like, he's not wholly evil. He's not wholly selfish, which is what Sukuna wanted him to be. Like, Megami in a lot of ways is very similar to, he's self-doubting, but in a lot of ways he's very similar to Yuji. And that's what I've always liked about Megami, is that he's the in-between between the selfishness of Sukuna and the pure altruism of Yuji. Bro, Megami is dead, and if he's not, this manga is trash. Well, nobody said Megami is dead, and I don't know why that of all things would be what would make the manga trash. Do you think Megami finding out about Toji will be something big, or will it be something small? At this point, probably not like a huge moment. It's pretty important for Megami, he's been second guessing himself, his place in the world, pretty much constantly comparing himself to other people, especially Yuji, and thinking that he's lagging. He really is, it's that talented guy. Like he's smart, he's good at what he does, but he's just not as good as the other characters or the people he's comparing himself to. So for Toji, and I feel like a lot of that comes back from he basically got raised by a deadbeat, and finding out that Toji is his dad. I don't know if it'll mean a lot to him, but it'll mean a lot to us, the reader, because we know who Toji is. Megami has to be dead. Say what you want, but it makes sense. It's stated absolutely nowhere in the story by any character. It is purely stated by you. So until I see a character in the story say, oh, he's dead. They're trying to save him right now. Like, at this exact moment, that Executioner's Sword was exclusively used to kill Sukuna with the added benefit of being able to save Megami. Gojo will tell Megami about Toji at the airport. Yeah. Toji was at that airport, so maybe he's got a little introduction. If Megami is so altruistic, why is he use Maharaga? Is he stupid? Well, he thought he was going to die. It's a little different. But also, his altruism, I'm not saying he's not necessarily an altruistic person. He's selfish, but not like Sukuna. He's selfish in who he chooses to save. And that's kind of the whole the whole dynamic between these characters, right? I save people unfairly. Yuji's like, what does that even mean? When the person you save goes on to kill somebody else, what will you do? And now they're both wrestling with that fact that like both of them have been hijacked by Sukuna, and Sukuna has gone on to kill other people with their bodies. Like Yuji and Megumi at this point in the story, they share a trauma. They both do. They both experience the same thing, a thing that nobody else has really experienced, which is they lost their bodily autonomy to Sukuna, and he went on to go body people they either cared about or just innocents. The airport is not real. The airport's real. Everyone winds up at the airport. We'll all find out one day. The Modern Warfare 2 terminal map. That is actually what I was just thinking. I was legitimately just thinking the Modern Warfare 2 terminal map. How many chapters do I think are left for JJK to end? Probably like 30, if they really want to go fast. Maybe like 25, but I say it's going to be more. Especially, it's especially going to go into 2025 with the breaks we're constantly getting. Any information about Sukuna's curse tools? Well, one of them's gone forever. There's a little bit of info there. Conveniently gone forever. Why is JJK being rushed? You ever gotten to the end of a school project or a game or something, and you're like, let's just stop. Let's stop caring about the numbers and just get there. Let's get to the end. That's probably why. It's probably true for a lot of authors. I'm not a writer. I don't know what it's like to write a story, but oftentimes when you're nearing the end of something, especially when there's a lot of pressure around it, people just go all in. Just say, I want to wrap this up. Hopefully the ending isn't rushed like Bleach. Bleach had a pretty incredibly rushed ending. Be hard to top that. Game of Thrones kind of topped it, though. Game of Thrones is pretty rushed. Megumi killed his sister and surrogate father Gojo. He is so cooked mentally. Oh, yeah. Pretty much the only person he has left that he actually cares about deeply is Yuji. Everyone else is dead. Megumi has that riz, though. Megumi drinks black coffee, which I drink black coffee, so when they treated that as like a weird thing, I felt personally attacked. Just joined. Have you talked about Sukuna eating Rika? Oh yes, we have talked a lot about Sukuna eating Rika. I hope JJK doesn't end like AOT. I didn't really mind AOT's ending up until like the last. It was like the last 10 pages, where like everything gets undone. And I'm like, okay. And the anime actually changed that a little bit. They put without spoiling anything for people who don't watch AOT or haven't read AOT, but they put the scenario they were in further into the future than they did in the original manga. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why. If you had the chance to find out what the ending was, would you want to hear it? Oh yeah, I don't care at all about spoilers for television or movies. It doesn't bother me one bit. I think experiencing a work is a lot different from just knowing what's going to happen. It doesn't really take away anything for me. You think Shoko and Urahime are keeping people from fully dying? I'm telling you, if they got a necromancy laboratory down there, I'm just assuming it's in a basement, okay? I know I have no real basis to think it's in a basement, but I'm just going to say it's in a basement. The Necromancy Gojo basement. If that's how he comes back, I'm down for it. Imagine if Yuta's domain works by imbuing techniques onto it, and Yuta copied Angel's technique. Enemy Stand User was just saying that he copied Angel's technique. Angel's technique is pretty clutch. That's still the closest we've gotten to bodying Sukuna here. Like, that was just death. That was dead to rights. The only time we have ever seen Sukuna just straight up say, whoa, hold on, stop. It's like totally me, Megami. Making Sukuna go to straight lies. Pretty impressive technique. Sukuna misread the buff Hollow Purple. True, he did. He thought it was a binding vow. He does not know that Urahime can buff techniques. What is Shoko CT? I was actually just talking to Eternal Flame about this a little bit the other day. Shoko CT is probably just a form of RCT. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but the way they have Sukuna saying it's fundamentally different from theirs, it sounds like it's a healing ability. Like, it utilizes RCT, but that's just, it's like RCT fueled into her technique. I mean, we don't even know what her CT is. Sukuna was writhing in pain like a demon in holy water. Oh yeah, he was. He was done. Like, Sukuna was toasted there. Hana really fumbled that one. JJK, all this could have been avoided. What's on the Gojo comeback? Is there any chance? There is a greater than 0% chance. That's all I'll give you. Imagine a reversal of a RCT-based technique. It just kills you. Just disintegrates life. That'd be pretty bad. They confirmed it's healing. Did they? It seems to me. Do you have a citation for that, Screen Heroes? I'm kind of curious now. Jacob's ladder really cooked him, like literally. That it did. Can Jesus beat Sukuna? I sure hope so. I mean, he was in the process of it with the Jacob's ladder, wasn't he? Just saying, Gojo's shirt still lasted more than him. Yeah, Gojo's shirt's OP though. Okay, that's a Toji fit. Toji fit only has weakness to Hollow Purple and Space Glue. I genuinely hope Yuta doesn't die. It took me like 2 months to get over Gojo's death. I don't know what I'd do if Yuta dies. You see, where I'm at is that just expect everybody to die except for Yuji, and you just ride the wave. You'll never be disappointed again. Just like, just assume everybody that appears on screen is already a corpse. It's just one giant obituary. Just a recounting of events. Having the necromancy ritual be in a basement probably amps it more from Jujutsu bullshittery, to be honest. I hope so. Urahime might get like a 2.5% buff from the basement necromancy. Necromancy while performed in the dark. Got that 2% increase. That's all you need. That's really that's the gap. That's the gap they gotta close to bring back Gojo. I swear if Maki dies. Okay, if people are afraid of somebody dying here from the heavy hitters, someone is almost guaranteed to die from the heavy hitters. Like, I'm just gonna say that right now. Like, whether it's Yuta or Hikari or Maki, just prepare for disappointment. One of them is probably gonna die. They do not all get to live. That's where I'm at. Merger requires like half of the cast to die. That was true up until recently. They told us that if you're a sorcerer, you can probably resist it. So the merger can pop off, and the remaining characters can survive to put it down. Who was Sukuna talking about when he said the main dish? This is actually one that confused me a little bit. I thought he might have been talking about Yuta. He said the cursed brat. And he's only referred to Yuji as a brat primarily, but, you know, considering he said, like, he sees Yuta 2 seconds later and says, oh, you know, better kill me or I'm going to kill all your friends. I think he's talking about Yuta. I think he sees how strong Yuji got, and he's like, okay, Yuta's got to be that much stronger right now. I'll fight him. Please be Hikari. What you got against Hikari, man? What'd Hikari ever do to you? You don't like Hikari? That's a pretty common opinion, okay. You know, it's true, Hikari isn't really much of a character. He's more of like a meme machine. Like, I couldn't tell anybody what Hikari's motivations are besides gambling. Like, he is buds with Yuta and is strong. That's what I feel like with Hikari. But that being said, I still like him. Yuta will have a trick up his sleeve. It's a punny one. Do you think we will see the merger? Well, considering they said they can survive it, yeah, I think the chances of a merger actually occurring much higher than before. And honestly, don't we want to see the merger creature at this point? Like, the big thing before was like, okay, it's never happening because all the characters have to die. But then they tell us, oh, they don't all have to die. They can totally survive somehow. Previously unmentioned. Can you think of a character death which affected a community as much as Gojo's? Jon Snow. Jon Snow dying was worse. In a different way. But if we're talking like purely affecting a community. When Jon Snow died in spoilers for Game of Thrones. Has the subject of being eaten been brought up yet? Oh, it has been brought up. And it'll probably continue to be brought up. And in fact, this exact question is probably going to be asked like 5 more times if we keep going. Yeah, people are going to get eaten. Someone's going to get eaten. I'm pretty sure Gege said that a major character was going to get eaten. Shoko will body Sukuna with hospital bills. See, that's really why he wants the merger to go off, is because he's going to be in some serious debt. This man has like 1,000 years of tax evasion. I mean, we're assuming that Sukuna was employed at any point in time, though. I'd imagine. I imagine he was employed at least once. Oh, I mean, he wasn't alive for 1,000 years, but Heian era had. He was like, you know, he was a harvest deity guy. Maybe he took some wheat, like a serf. You think the merger will be like the Ten Tails or something? I hope it's way better than the Ten Tails, because the Ten Tails was the lamest of all tailed beasts. All right, Naruto had so many cool designs for the tailed beast, and then the last one is like the combined efforts of all the 9 tailed beasts into this giant blob thing. It looks like a creature from Dead Space, but lamer. You lose me at the tentacle beast. And then they just have like Madara like plugs into this thing like he's in Cyberpunk. Like, give me a break. I have my issues at the end of Naruto, and the Ten Tails is like one of the lamest things. Major character, yeah, that's definitely Yuta. Yeah, I think Yuta's probably the one. I just don't see what Yuta's gonna do in Jujutsu Kaisen besides like start a school or something later. That's my issue with a lot of the characters in JJK right now. Is that unless your name is like Yuji or Megami, you don't really have an arc to finish anymore. Like Yuta's arc is done. Megami's arc, he still needs to know about Toji. Yuji still has to deal with his conflict with Sukuna. But as far as like a character like Maki, like she kind of got what she wanted. Hakari doesn't even have a goal. Like these characters, like they're definitely strong, but besides that, fighting just seems like what they're there for. Ten Tails looks like a clay project. It did look like a clay project, and not even a good one. It looked like a rejected Pokemon design. To be fair, it was an incomplete state. But don't we see a Ten Tails in Boruto, and it still looks like ass? I'm just saying, a tadpole is an incomplete state of a frog, and they're both ugly. Do you think Yuki was a bimbo in her 20s? No, I don't think she was a bimbo. She's Yuki. Probably just, hanging out, doing her thing, getting pretty strong. I'm not really sure what got Yuki to be so strong, or how you even find out you have a technique like that. Like, was you shake somebody's hand one day and realize that you can add mass to yourself and you just rip their arm off? Sounds pretty rough. Ten Tails looked like a scuffed, a tubby version of Monsters Inc. I never thought I'd see a Monsters Inc. reference in here, but yeah, you ain't wrong. We needed to see Yuki's goals come true. We need to see a lot from Yuki. Yuki was one of the only characters. Frogs are cute. Hold on, I have to derail this. Somebody said frogs are cute. I disagree. I hate frogs. Banned. Not actually. We needed to see Yuki's goals come true. Yeah, Yuki actually had a character motivation. Yuki has more character motivation than 99% of the current cast does. Takaba versus Sukuna coming up. This might be a dumb question, but are you going to play the JJK game? Yeah, I probably will. I know I had some other YouTubers that wanted to play it all together, since there are like 2v2s in that, but I saw the fighting, dude. That game just looks like cheeks, okay? Like, I don't mind playing a Jujutsu Kaisen game, but I also just like playing good games, you know? Like, I am undeniably a gamer, okay? I love games, but I won't just play anything. I'm picky. Thought I was the only one who hated frogs. Oh no. Their long legs are disgusting. They are a hideous creature, truly. Do you think JJK would have done better as a long-running series, 400 plus chapters? I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen itself needs to be 400 chapters, but I think it could use another 400 chapters of just explanation. Like, I wouldn't mind some explanation to the world, some Heian era stuff, some light novels, like an expansion on the world. I think JJK as an actual series, like a 350 chapter run of JJK, I think that sounds pretty reasonable. Like, it's fairly long. I think the days of like these super long series like Bleach, and as much as I like Bleach, okay, Bleach has some seriously bloated parts. Like the first arc of Bleach, it just starts off slow. It just does. And it's a product of the times. It moved a lot of stuff forward, but you don't really see things like Naruto's initial arcs anymore. The series we like people are into now move a lot faster in the beginning. There's less fat. I feel like modern shonen are written closer to what some of the ancillary series people were watching back in the day are. Like when you look at the opening of JJK, yeah, quality over quantity, exactly. When you look at the opening of JJK, you're like, okay, Sukuna's here, okay, Gojo's here, and there's like two chapters, or is it an episode to set up Nobara, and then everything from that point forward is like, okay, exchange event. The exchange event is probably the most fillery thing in JJK, and even then it's still there. It's still important. It's there to set up some characters. TikTok attention span. I vehemently disagree with this. It's not a TikTok attention span. It's that Bleach is fucking boring at the beginning. Because it's not good. Like, the beginning of Bleach is just not that good. Like, look at where Bleach ended to where it starts. The series is just objectively more interesting at the end. Because the characters are like, the characters are set up. Like, the characters you get set up later in the series are introduced faster. They are introduced faster, and they are introduced better. And that's why you have people swooning over so many of the newer Bleach characters, because Kubo's writing simply improved. Like, I don't think that... okay, maybe I shouldn't say the beginning of Bleach is bad, but it's definitely slow. Okay, if you look at a show like Better Call Saul, all right, no wasted moments. That's just that, like, no wasted moments in your story makes for a better feeling story. Like, if Bleach came out today with no ancillary media, nobody knows about it at all, and it was just the beginning, it is so slow. People would get into it by the time of, like, maybe the Rukia arc. Like, once they have to go to Soul Society, that's when things pick up. Big time. It'd be sick if Kubo continues Burn the Witch. When is the chapter dropping? Next week. Next Tuesday. On the note of shonen as a whole, I think shonen has improved as a whole. Like, I think the pacing in shonen has gotten so much better in the past 10 years. You get so few of these monster of the week moments anymore, because like it's so less episodic. Which was the standard, and One Piece was doing this for a long, like, way before most series were doing it. Like, the opening of One Piece, I know a lot of people don't like One Piece, but for the most part, One Piece just gets you right into it. It's like, okay, here's Luffy, here's Shanks, here's Zoro, these are the characters, this is what he wants to do. Let's send them out there. The Fujimoto influence is felt? Oh, for sure. Yeah, Soul Society arc, I think that's when Bleach really picks up. Like, when you get into Bankais, when you get into the main characters. Like, Soul Society is so much more interesting than Karakura Town. If that's that's the name of it, if I can remember properly. I'm telling you, chapter 253 to 257, Kashimo going to make a return. If Kashimo actually comes back into JJK... he better come back with, like, a kaiju. That's all I'm saying. Like a lightning kaiju comes back with Godzilla. It would be awesome if Megumi will try to get his body back by fighting Sukuna with her soul. Imagine if only Megumi can use domain expansion because it's his body. I'm assuming that only Megumi could use Chimera Shadow Garden. My only problem with One Piece is the pacing. And, I agree. One Piece has a great world. And if you're into One Piece, it's hard to it's hard to explain to somebody why One Piece is good if they don't like One Piece. But One Piece is it's still a product of its times. It came out 20 years ago, and the standard for the pacing back then was just different. Serialization was just different. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just times have changed, and I think they've improved a lot in Shonen Jump as a whole. Like Shonen Jump before, a lot of people would stick their nose up at Shonen fans and be like, "Oh, you read Shonen? How dare you read this slop?" You know? Like, how dare you read this slop? But now these days, there are some really quality Shonen Jump series, and they come out pretty often. Like they're not as there's less people have to be less hipsterish about it. Because some people will just dislike good thing because they want to feel smart. And that's just how it is. They'd be like, "Oh, if I don't like the popular thing, I'm somehow like smarter and better than other people." Like, okay. Like, it sucks I can't enjoy it. That's usually how I see it. Like, I see some legitimate grievances about Jujutsu Kaisen sometimes. But like when people are just like, JJK's mid, One Piece is better, it's like, just chill. Just like watch what you like. It's like, who cares? Like, if somebody enjoying Jujutsu Kaisen is taking away your enjoyment of One Piece, like, that's your problem. Hot take, My Hero Academia is mad average. I don't even think that's a hot take anymore. My Hero Academia is... the writing was definitely struggling, and that seems to be the general consensus these days. Sukuna should be able to use Chimera Shadow Garden because Kenjaku used the gravity technique for his domain when that wasn't his technique. Yeah, it might be a little different though, because Gojo saw Kenjaku as Geto. Like, their soul is still there. And he's like literally a brain in the jar. One Piece is nowhere near JJK. I'm not as much into One Piece as I am into JJK. So I agree in some ways. But One Piece, I still think One Piece has some really banger moments. I also like the One Piece soundtrack, even if I don't watch the anime. All for One was such a disappointment. Yeah, All for One was a disappointment. Like, you'd think this guy has... If you're in a world where everybody has superpowers, being able to just yoink them, that is an OP power. That is the most OP power you could have. Assuming you don't just get one shot by some dude. Episodic writing helps build and set up the world in a fun way. I think most long-form serialized content like JJK should have a season or arc of Monster of the Week at the beginning. You see, I think it can help, and I think it depends what story you're trying to write. I do not think that JJK would have benefited from it. I think JJK set up... I think the beginning of JJK is one of its best parts, which is why it got so big. Just in the initial anime. Is that when you open up JJK, there's like one high school setting, and then you're immediately thrusted in to Sukuna. Like, it's a Sukuna finger. Oh, this is Satoru Gojo, the Six Eyes Inheritor, and it just keeps going from there. But on the flip side of that, an episodic serialization, TV shows do this all the time. It can definitely work, but it usually works in a dynamic of like, when you have like two characters together, like Rukia or Ichigo, which is what they tried to do, or in a more live action setting, like something like Sam and Dean Winchester. Like, yeah, Supernatural. For all my people who have seen Supernatural, all like 19 seasons of it, it starts off super episodic, but you have the same characters that are constantly in it, and it's just fun to watch them interact. Started to lose interest in Chainsaw Man with all the breaks. I think Chainsaw Man is I've covered it a couple times on this channel, but I think it's a series best read. Like when you take a break from it, Like you just take a break, you come back. There's some new chapters. It's best digested when you have the whole picture. Like it's like Fujimoto really does. That's actually the author. Let me just double check before I sound like a yeah. Fujimoto. When Fujimoto writes, he doesn't really write for like shock at the end of a week. There's not a bunch of cliffhangers. With CSM, it just goes. Which studio can do justice to Vagabond? Quite a few. Mappa's an obvious choice, but Mappa is one of the best studios in the industry right now, despite how horrific they were treating their workers. JJK was making people lose interest in Shonen Jump until he put in Shibuya. Making people lose interest in Shonen Jump as a whole. I mean, if JJK had enough influence to make people lose interest in Shonen Jump as a whole, it must have been doing pretty well. Do you think blood manipulation domain expansion do you think a blood manipulation domain expansion would be like blood bending? I've talked about this before. Blood bending would be the way to make blood manipulation on the level of something like Limitless and Ten Shadows. Because if you just pop somebody's brain, they're done. Oh, JJK itself, not Shonen Jump. Yeah, I mean, JJK was getting a little slow before Shibuya. I can agree with that. I didn't like Hidden Inventory that much. I didn't think it was bad. It just wasn't my favorite arc. I liked it once Toshi showed up. Charlie, aka Penguin Zero, made a video that JJK Season 2 as the only masterpiece shonen. I think JJK Season 2, listen, having the full backing of Mappa behind you that is a pretty profound thing for your series. Like, it feels like something that happened with Attack on Titan as well, where a shonen series, usually they got the schlock studio. I call it the schlock studio when that's really not what it is, because everybody works hard at these studios, but they're put under these time constraints of, just pump out these episodes endlessly. Like, do you guys remember Naruto, where they just had non-stop weekly episodes, just constantly filler arcs to the moon? And Jujutsu Kaisen was like, okay guys, we want you to get worked to death and make a movie. Just make it a whole season. And that's what we got in JJK Season 2, it feels like. Have I seen or read World Trigger? B Rank Wars goes hard. I've never seen or even heard of World Trigger. I'll check it out. Blue Lock anime was butchered. I've never read Blue Lock. I'm pretty sure it's about soccer. Or, excuse me, that's the American in me. Football. Quirkless, did you read the IGN review of JJK Season 2? If so, what did you make of it? I don't make much of anything IGN has to say, because, I mean, they've had plagiarized things on their reviews before. IGN also sucks at games. I'll just put that out there. Read the new webcomic chapter of One Punch Man, bro. Is this 100 or is this a different 100? I will definitely check out the new web comic chapter. I remember the webcomic in a long time. I know when I met Zonin, he pulled me in for a collab on the webcomic, which I had less info on than I did the anime, not the anime, the official manga. So I felt a little in the dark there. That was a pretty nerve wracking experience for me. Oh, it is you. Okay, what's up, 100? Yeah, I'm serious, dude. Let me moderate you. Hold on. Christian Martinez donated $20. Thank you so much. Missing the live, stuck at work. Do you think Yuji's rapid growth is due to Sukuna being inside for so long, and that's what makes him mad because he can grow slash learn like that too? I think Yuji has that dog in him, which I've said before, but when it comes to Yuji really is just a total savant with Jujutsu, and I think that Sukuna notices this about Yuji, and he just thinks, oh, okay, this kid has this overwhelming sense of self. He has the ability to get strong like me, given enough time, but unlike me, he's not selfish. So what gives? I'm potentially wrong, and that pisses him off. And as far as Yuji being this savant, I'm guessing that's whatever Kenjaku did to him. Quirkless, the moment you get the chance to check it out, because the reveal in this chapter is crazy. Don't let it get spoiled for you. My jaw dropped. If it's that good, I gotta check it out then. One Punch Man goes hard. It really does. Like, when you first watch One Punch Man, you're like, oh, it's a joke. And then you get more into it, and you're like, oh, this is real shit. Let me add both of you guys as monitors here. Tiberius, thank you so much for becoming a member. It's much appreciated. And if you guys have not checked out Tiberius or 100, you guys should, because they are excellent Jujutsu Kaisen content creators. Garo carried? Yeah, that's all Garo had to do. I mean, that's like saying Griffith carried Berserk. It's like, oh man, a huge villain carried a story. It's crazy. I'm already getting anime anxiety on my For You page for the new webcomic chapter. I love anime anxiety. Great guy. I was actually going to collab with him at some point here. I lost interest on One Punch Man because of how slowly the chapters were releasing. Yeah, that's why One Punch Man, it is, Murata, when he draws some of the best art in manga, but the price of that is you never get to see the chapters on a reasonable schedule for some people. Unless you're a Berserk fan, in which case, you get to see like 4 chapters in a year if you're lucky. You gotta wait for One Punch Man chapters to stack up usually. Yeah, that's true. Just read him as a giant thing. I pretty much read the whole Garo arc. It was actually Zonin that got me into One Punch Man way back when, because I was kind of into the series, but I saw some of his content, and he really really brought up the ideas of like, oh, who is Drive Knight? Who's this guy? And I was like, oh, I guess there's actually like a little mystery here that I didn't previously read about. So I checked it out. What carries JJK, in your opinion? Well, I think JJK is carried by the relationship between Yuji and Sukuna, and also just the overarching power system alongside characters like Gojo. I think Gojo did carry Jujutsu Kaisen for a lot of people. I think you're going to get a different answer from a lot of people on Jujutsu Kaisen in general, because some people did just read JJK for Gojo, and that's just the truth. You're getting back to work. You had a good one. See you guys. Take it easy, Deshaun Williams. Thanks for showing up. Much appreciated. What happened to Takaba at the end of the fight? He pretty much just hung out. Yeah, he had like a nice nap. He was satisfied, and he knew that Yuta was about to body Kenjaku. Just kind of chilled out. Berserk gets chapters? Allegedly. It allegedly gets chapters. I legit think Yuta is going to beat up Sukuna. Here's hoping. Your name is Sora Hope. I hope you have that hope for Yuta, because he's going to need it, dude. Takaba would solo Sukuna. Honestly, true. I don't know how you'd be able to stop Takaba. His technique is just that busted. I like Gojo, but I can recognize that the series is much better without him in it. I don't know if I necessarily say it's better, but I am more interested in what's going on right now than I was during the Gojo versus Sukuna fight, because nobody really thought Gojo was going to win. Like dead ass win. Or at the very least, if you thought he was going to win the fight, you didn't think he was going to live. So the end result is a dead Gojo. It'd be funny if next chapter Sukuna just one taps Rika with positive energy. Oh man, Yuta fans would never recover. I got my boy Kaio on that Yuta Nation. Sukuna will last till he fights the merger. I smell a Madara situation again, and I am afraid. Yeah, it does kind of feel a little bit like Madara. Though I'd say Madara's level of OP was even greater than Sukuna's, because Madara was just unstoppable by the end. Like, legitimately just so busted that even when the characters got divine intervention, literally divine intervention, okay, the god of ninjas basically showed up and was like, hey, take my power, they were still like, this dude's too strong. If Maki don't show up next chapter. I don't know if Maki's going to show up next chapter, but she's definitely prepping for that sneak attack. I'm going to put a poll here. I'm curious. Let me add an option here. Who is going to die of these? Let me just word that in the weirdest way possible. Everybody thinks. Oh, Hikari. Oh, everybody thinks it's going to be Hikari. Poor Hikari. If I could vote, though, that's who I'd vote for. Hikari is just the kind of character that he's just going to get bodied. I mean, let's be real. Sadly, all of them will die. That is a depressing statement. I've never clicked on a poll so fast in my life that it's Hikari. It definitely feels like Hikari is just the guy who's got to go. Is that or Yuta? It seems like the poll's kind of reflecting how I feel, which is Hikari most likely, then Yuta, then Maki. This is a tough choice because I legit think Hikari is going to lose to Urame. You see, the thing with Urame, though, is that I think he fought Urame because he has to die to Sukuna, so just give him his W. Like, gotta give him one W. Gotta give him, like, an easy peasy one. Let him fight the Ice Mage. He does a little bit of tap dancing with Urame, glazes Yuta a bit, and then gets eaten. If Hikari gets bodied, I hope it's by Sukuna rather than Urame. I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, if Hikari died to Urame, how disappointing. He had like that coldest domain expansion open on her too. Just jumps right in. I think they both take each other out. No, Urame is not. I refuse to believe that she's capable of a stalemate. I think she's gonna get bodied. Like it's about time. Let me find the commission that I got for, or Boku no Color drew this for me. Let me find it of Urame getting decked in the face by Gojo. Wherever it may be. It was a good one, I have to say. He told me I could pick any panel to get colored, and it was the easiest question. It was the easiest answer of my life, which is the chapter 221 where she got decked in the face or in the gut. Wherever I put it. I gotta organize these folders better. Let's see. Yeah, Yuta is not winning a 1v1. It needs to be Yuji and Yuta, 2v1 on Sukuna. Black flashes and all. When the black flashes start coming out, that's the biggest thing here, really, guys. We haven't seen a black flash since Gojo got one on Sukuna and, a couple on Maharaga. But Sukuna has yet to land a black flash in Jujutsu Kaisen, and there's no way this guy hasn't done it before. Someone's going to get cracked on. That's what it feels like. Where is this? I honestly forgot that Takaba versus Kenjaku happened for a second here because I was a little bored during Takaba versus Kenjaku to the point that I'm scrolling through my folders here and I see all the panels. And I'm like, oh yeah, there was that fight before this. Am I getting old? Let me put in the home. Like, choose this it. Ugh. Who will win? Sukuna versus Pain. Pain. Naruto characters, their scaling just goes crazy. Naruto's just a whole different level of power. Gojo is only relevant in cross versus battles because he has infinity, pretty much. Like, that's a pretty good hex. There we go, finally found it. Is this not the best page in Jujutsu Kaisen? I think it is. How many Black Flash do you need to get to 200%? I'm not sure exactly. 200% of like output? Because the Black Flash is like, what, a 20% output increase? It's really more of a, it's less of a legitimate flat bonus and more so you're better at utilizing your curse energy, which also explains why your RCT gets better, because you're just better at manipulating CE overall. You would have thought Gojo was a Zenin the way he hit her. Yeah. Naruto versus smashes Gojo. Shikamaru would mid-diff him. Naruto Jutsu is just so many hacks. There's just so many hacks in a Naruto jutsu. It's wild. Like even the most basic characters have like sound attacks, OP hypnotic sound attacks, drunken fighting styles. Though I wouldn't really call that hacks, but you get my idea. I find it stupid to compare characters from different verses when it comes to power. I mean, power scaling is kind of stupid, okay? Like everybody knows it is, but it's still kind of fun, you know. But usually in anime, especially because anime kind of popularized power scaling, people just like to find out which of their favorite characters could body one another, and it just turns into fanboy fights usually. Even in like your own series, and like when you're exclusively in one series, people get actually pressed about which character is stronger. Now imagine you take that level of investment and just remove all the caring for the other series. You just get fanboys. And that's pretty much how Death Battle got started. Who's my fave in Naruto? Kakashi. No question. Always Kakashi. I saw him show up in his first chapter and my opinion never changed. He's just the coolest. Is Divergent Fist same as Gojo's blue powered fist? No, they are two completely separate things. Divergent Fist is like a delayed impact of your cursed energy. Blue powered fist are blue from Limitless imbued into his fist to suck you in. Why hasn't Sukuna hit a Black Flash before? He has. He almost certainly has. He just hasn't done one in this fight. Kakashi is the budget version of Gojo. Take that back right now. Kakashi is him. Kakashi is the only ninja. Looks like a ninja in that series, pretty much. Barring a couple other ones. Listen, you can love Gojo, but I draw the line at Kakashi slander. He has all the makings of a character. Kakashi has everything you need to be cool, but not too overpowered. Granted, he's pretty overpowered. Like, he himself is a prodigy, and he's like, oh, I have an overpowered eye, but I wasn't born with it. My best friend gave it to me. Like, it's pretty edgy. It's pretty anime, but at the same time, it's Kakashi, so it still works. Yeah, he does talk a little too much about comrades, I'm not going to lie. There is a little bit of crying in Naruto, and now I thought Naruto had a lot of like depressing moments where characters in Naruto are wildly intelligent as well. Like a 5-year-old Itachi is like, I could tell, like, you know, on my 5th birthday that the stars had aligned, that something bad was going to happen, but I was too busy mastering my 45th jutsu that I've personally made to take any, like, to really care about it. That's every single Naruto character to me. They're all just wildly intelligent. And I don't really know what this obsession in Naruto was with characters being like, I graduated from high school when I was 8 years old. That's how you know I'm good. It's like every prodigy in the village. This village has like 3,000 people. It's like a small town, okay? Like, how many people are really in the Leaf Village, all right? Like, go to a small town. There's probably more people in the whole of the Leaf Village. And you're telling me that, like, the prodigies in this, like, a class of, like, 20 people all just, like, one of them just graduates when they're 6, okay? Like, these once-in-a-lifetime prodigies. There's just a ton of them. Crazy, dude. The only disappointing thing about Naruto is that we never saw the potential of the White Fang, his life all the way to his death. Seemed like a great story behind him. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's better they didn't show us how strong he was sometimes. That way, he doesn't just get horribly outscaled and shit on. Even Naruto seemed like a prodigy to me. Like, half the verse became Jonin at 10. Yeah, that's the thing in Naruto. It's like all these characters, Like you're basically an infant fighting war battles, and they're like, "This is great, guys. We're like the enlightened village." Like all the IQ of the shinobi, dude. They're like, Shikamaru has an incredibly high IQ, and it's like, don't they all? Like these guys are like all geniuses. They're like Naruto is stupid. Then like he's in combat. He's like, let me just perfectly manipulate my chakra. 1 second, I'm him. I'm actually him. Like the battle IQ. Yeah, I know it's a trope, but Naruto is truly one of a kind. I don't think we're ever gonna get anything like it again. A wholly unique world, like the ninja villages. That's why it's so popular. There's nothing else like it on the market, really. Could Kakashi beat Maharaga? Almost certainly, if he used the right ability. Like Maharaga gets toasted by things way weaker than what's in Naruto. Out of grade school, straight onto the battlefield, dude. That is the whole Ninja Academy mantra. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen kind of does this as well, where they're like, oh, what is the life of a Jujutsu sorcerer? Where they just send people out to fight and die. But at least they make a point of it. Like in JJK, when some teenager goes out on a mission and just gets negged by like a fodder curse spirit, everybody around them is like, oh, this is really tragic. But that's just the life we have to live because nobody else can do this. Nobody else can go on the cursed spirit missions except for like 12 people in the entire country. But in Naruto, it's just like, let's prep these children for war. As a rule, like I know we don't have to do this, but we're just gonna do that. I know like one Hokage is better than all of these ninja combined, but let's just make sure we got backup. See now I've turned my chat into Naruto versus Jujutsu Kaisen. There will never be another like Minato Namikaze. Yeah, until there is, because that's Naruto. Believe it. Let's see. There was a statement by Naruto where he says Kakashi's even smarter than Shikamaru. I don't even know what the metric for smart is in Naruto. Like, do any of these people actually have a legitimate education? Or are they just battle smart? I know Orochimaru had a lab. Like, they have a pretty high technology level in there. I don't know where they're learning this stuff from. Like, who's teaching the electrical engineering in the Leaf Village? Who's doing it? It's definitely not the Ninja Academy. But let's get back onto. Let me get back on topic to JJK. Now we've gone all deep into Naruto. No, you're right, Ryan. It is not a JJK discussion. We've been all over the place today. All right, boys. So who do we think? Next chapter. Do we think that Sukuna can still use his domain? That's a real question. Kashimo versus Mahito. I think does Kashimo have a real way to kill Mahito? I mean, yeah, he kind of just bodies Mahito. Like Mahito is outscaled by his speed, and Mahito, while he can't deal damage to him while he has his curse technique active, Mahito is gonna run out way before Kashimo does. I mean, if Todo can avoid Mahito's hits that long. But if he can, isn't it GG's if Sukuna can use his domain expansion? I'm assuming you're talking about. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it kind of already is GG. Sukuna is pretty clearly just playing around at this point already. He even says as much. I mean, it is. He might not be able to use his domain, but the way he's talking, it really seems like Sukuna is just vibing. Like he's chopping off Higuruma's arms. He wants to see what people can do. He's trying to goad them on to get stronger. We're waiting for the Sukuna plot armor to run out. Dude, he's got like 5 backpacks of that stuff. His shrine is all armor. Gojo comes back with borderless unlimited void. If Gojo had unlimited void, he's just dead ass the strongest character. Unless Sukuna pulls out something crazy with this technique, but yeah, that domain, open barrier, that is spooky. 200-meter. Oof. Kashimo can't hurt Mahito. Mahito can manipulate Kashimo's body. He can't manipulate Kashimo's body either because there's 2 souls. He still could. He was only scared of manipulating Yuji's because the other soul was him. You know, it's like I would also manipulate the soul. Like if I was fighting somebody, okay, and my power set is to manipulate your soul, all right, I wouldn't really care with like 99% of people. Like, oh, what? You got 2 Joe Blows in there? But then, like, if I come across one guy and I touch his soul and like Satan is right there, I'm probably never going to do it again. That's how I took it. Sukuna's downfall has just started. He doubted himself for the first time ever. Megami is projecting his depression to Sukuna. I mean, Sukuna's downfall is definitely started. At least like his emotional downfall. What it's actually going to look like is him defeated. We don't know yet. But as far as Sukuna losing in JJK, pretty much guaranteed. Like, I don't really know where this whole, Sukuna's gonna win JJK is coming from. Like, there hasn't been a Shonen Jump villain that has won a Shonen series in so long, especially a top 5 Shonen. And even if we ignore that, it doesn't even make thematic sense. It cuts half the character arcs off. Like, I don't know who thinks this is actually gonna happen. I'll put my foot down on that one. There are a few things in JJK that you can guarantee are gonna happen, like Gojo coming out of the prison realm. Sukuna losing is one of them. Like, maybe not, even if he doesn't physically lose, he's going to lose the overall story. Even if he remains the strongest or whatever it is. Yuta had Rika eat Kenjaku. Has Rika eat Kenjaku, Yuta dies to Sukuna, and then body swaps into Gojo. That is cooked. That is a cooked theory, my friend. We all know if we were Gojo's body, we all would have been hunting down every single special grade curse. Because for real, if Gojo could do all that with Sukuna, why didn't he drag all the special grades out? They're probably hard to find. And I assume that he probably killed a lot of them, but they do say it's an eternal war against curses. You know, the cursed spirits will always come back. So really the overall thing in JJK they gotta get rid of is cursed energy, because that's the problem. Sukuna is not doubting himself. Totally. He's definitely not gaslighting himself at all right now. He's not spacing out and questioning his reality whatsoever. It's all headcanon. Kenjaku's end is so underwhelming. I agree. If this is where he died, it is a little underwhelming. And I wasn't even that attached to him as a villain. Like, he wasn't somebody I even cared that much about. And even I'm like, okay, is that it? I think Sukuna winning is a little crazy, but I strongly believe that he might win this fight. There's no way we don't see the merger after all this build up. Yeah, I agree. He's probably gonna win the fight. It definitely seems like we're setting up for a Sukuna technique reveal, and then he bodies some people, and then we move into the final battle or whatever it may be. If there's another arc, if Gege decides to bless us with more Jujutsu. Sukuna is just having some good old fashioned introspection. Yes. Dude, I do not want Cursed Energy to go away. I'm reading fiction just for the conclusion to be a real world Thursday. Dude, crazy shit happens in real world Thursdays, okay? Just saying. The world isn't that boring. And the real world Thursday will still have. Okay, yeah. I see where you're coming from. The more I'm thinking about it. But do you want them all to live in like an eternal fight of cursed spirits? It sounds pretty bad. Kenjaku dying there proves that Gege is rushing. I felt similar. When I read that he just died there and they're like, this is it, it's over. I was pretty much went to my friend and I was like, I think JJK might just end. And he's like, what do you mean? Of course it's gonna end. I'm like, no, I think it might just end like a Looney Tunes where it's like, that's all folks, and it's just over. Like it just like things will just happen and then it's over. That's what I felt like. And Gotham Fights 420. Yes, okay. An impressive title. Sukuna's victory needs meaning, not because he's the strongest. Or not because he's strong. Super chatted. Thank you very much. Yeah, I agree. His victory would need meaning. It's not just that he's strong. And the meaning in Jujutsu Kaisen is that Sukuna's wrong. Like, Sukuna's ideology is undeniably awful. It's terrible. Like, his worldview is so shit. It's really incredible. And he's been proven wrong by the advent of characters like Yuji, and he knows that's what happens. He knows that he is wrong deep down, and that's what he's saying. I'm going to crush your ideology into bits, because if I don't, I'll know forever that I'm wrong. Like, I see some people go out there, some crazy Twitter takes where like, Sukuna's actually based and real, and all of his takes are incredible. Like, Sukuna is so evil. Like, yeah, he has some positive qualities in the sense that, like, yeah, he gets work done. Yeah, he sticks to his ideals, but his ideals are awful. And he's seeing that now with Yuji, that you can get a similar work ethic, without the murder. Like, you don't have to be a wholly selfish person. You can be selfish in getting your ideology, Like, Jujutsu Kaisen does teach you to be selfish in some aspects of your life, which is true. Oh, what makes it wrong with Sukuna? Whole isolation and selfishness to get strong at all costs and have a hierarchy of power. Do you want to live under a hierarchy of power? I don't think so. Like, it's not that Sukuna has no positive traits, because of course he does. Pretty much that you can find grapes on the rotten vine. But at the core of his ideology, he's a bitter person, and he knows it. Why don't you go debate Sukuna on his morals and ideology? Because he has no morals, and he'd kill me for asking. I think it's a pretty good reason. Yeah, Sukuna, what's your... I like to tell you why you're wrong. Sukuna is like Aizen. Not knowing his backstory makes him mysterious and better as a character. I think Aizen's closer to Kenjaku. I think Aizen's just a better Kenjaku, if I'm being honest. Oh yeah, I could definitely take. I'll take Sukuna. You think Quirkless could take Sukuna? That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. But no, if I approach Sukuna to tell him I would like to thoughtfully explain to you why you shouldn't kill people, I would be the next victim. Yuji's domain is forcing Sukuna to debate. That would be pretty funny. Do you think Sukuna would kill Urame to start the merger? I think Sukuna would kill anybody at any time if it fits the plan he wants to do. Like, he has absolutely zero moral quandaries. Do you think Yuji will talk no jutsu and defeat Sukuna by debunking his ideology? I mean, I think they are going to debunk Sukuna's ideology, and it's already starting to happen, but I also think that Sukuna getting beaten won't be by talk no jutsu, it'll be by these hands. Sukuna just wants to chill. Yeah, that's great and all. I agree. People should. It's totally fine. If you just want to chill your whole life, that's not something I necessarily recommend, but if that's just what you want to do, that's not necessarily the worst thing ever. But Sukuna's idea of chilling is eating people and murdering anybody that he gets bored of. My man is a net negative. Can we discuss Gojo? Yes, we may, Thomas. We're currently discussing why Sukuna is evil. And these strange takes that Sukuna's ideology is actually based and true. Did you notice how Sukuna's belly is very similar to Tengen's character design? What do you think? I think Sukuna is a freakazoid. Okay? I think he's just a disgusting hulking creature that is hardly even human anymore, and whatever he did to get this way, it's gonna come back to bite him in the ass. Like, whatever he did to obtain power like this to become this four-armed creature thing, it's not exactly... I'm sure it had its drawbacks. Especially when they tell us that Sukuna experienced death before. Was he always evil is the question. Almost certainly not. I mean, you can't really be the Fallen if you were just in the pits the whole time. Or if you go by the Disgraced One. All translations of the Fallen or the Disgraced One, they point towards a previously more noble position. Can we get some Gojo copium, mayhaps? He is coming back for sure now. I mean, obviously. Surely he must be fine now that he's in good hands, right? Of course. Gojo is definitely coming back. Why? I mean, of course. He was only in 2 pieces. They're going to necromancy him back. If Sukuna wins and he is correct, people who don't follow his ideology are weak and subject to the strong. I mean, I think he's still wrong, even if that's true, because, if you kill all potential rivals, if you're like a lion that just goes out and, executes all your rivals, I mean, of course they're subject to you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, your ideology of they could have been stronger than you at one point. You could have just gotten lucky and been born at a time where you had the opportunity to grow that strong. Let's say if younger Sukuna ran into an older Sukuna who executed him. Younger Sukuna now got bodied by the older Sukuna. All right, this thought's kind of getting away from me. But let's say younger Sukuna gets executed by the older Sukuna, never gets the opportunity to grow to the point where this Sukuna is at. That's the unlucky fate of Gojo, is that he got executed by a guy that had all this time to become OP. But luckily, we will have Go and Joe to come back to life as a two-man squad and beat him down. Necromancy ritual party with Gaku Ganji and the boys. Sukuna not invited. In a basement. It's gotta be in a basement. All horrific. Like, you ever played Skyrim? You ever got into a basement? That one place, and where was it? Like, the totally not vampire village. And like, oh look, what's in this cellar? Oh, this guy's just committing necromancy in his basement. It's crazy. Never seen anything like it. That's Sukuna's point. No one could conceivably get as strong as him otherwise. And we see with Gojo, no matter how much time passed, his unwillingness to stop being human is why he lost. I don't think that's necessarily why he lost, though. I think he lost because, like, it wasn't that he wasn't unwilling to stop being human. It's that he was, like, 28 years old, and the man from hell from 1,000 years ago came back to life to kill him. With his abducted son's body. Like, what technique was Gojo gonna grab in a month? And they put him on a timetable, too. It said die. Like, you die in a month. Sukuna argues that morals and ideologies themselves are a weakness, and as long as he keeps winning, he is correct. I don't think that's true at all, because what could Gojo have done differently with Sukuna's ideology that would have resulted in a W? Like, what different state in Gojo's life? I mean, we could maybe theorize that Gojo, if he was as power hungry, would have become as strong as Sukuna. There's no guarantee. Or would have been strong enough to kill him. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just don't think in the specific case of Gojo it's necessarily true. Because not everybody with Sukuna's ideology is going to become as strong as Sukuna. And vice versa. Like, and you see the same thing with a character like Yuji, where Yuji's not as strong as Sukuna right now, but he has that dog in him. And Sukuna knows. You think that Gojo with Sukuna's ideology could have killed him? I mean, we don't know how. What would be different? We have no idea how long it took Sukuna to get this strong. And Sukuna died before. Gojo's full of himself. That's true. But so is Sukuna. Gojo, at the end of the day, didn't want to become the strongest. It was lonely. Yeah, it's true. It's true he didn't want to become the strongest. But again, just because you want to become the strongest doesn't mean that Sukuna's ideology is going to take you there. Because clearly, Yuji is... Because Yuji... Like, Sukuna's ideology, if he wins, if he constantly wins, if he executes everybody when they're like let's throw it back a little further, all right? Let's say this is like a young teen Gojo, okay? Is Sukuna right in his ideology? That like, oh, I killed teenage Gojo. If he had my ideology, he would have stood a chance. Like, is Sukuna now correct? Gojo himself would be fundamentally different. That's correct. He would be fundamentally different. I just don't think a might makes right argument is going to be proof that your ideology, that like the weak can't defend themselves. Well, yeah, the weak can't defend themselves, but they're also never going to get the opportunity to be strong if you keep executing them when they're teenagers. And that's what Sukuna's doing. Yeah, I mean, I think you bring up a good enough point though. Like, I don't entirely disagree. Mobius super chats and for $5. Thank you very much. Me looking at the news, seeing a Sukuna was right dude robbing a bank, being surprised that he got arrested. Yeah. Dude, I just have an overwhelming sense of self, officer. I just had to go into this bank. I just really believed. My ideal was taking all that money. Well, Sukuna never said if you follow my ideology, you will achieve my height. No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, I just misphrased my. I mispresented what I'm trying to argue. I'm saying that Sukuna saying like, okay, might makes right. It's just a bad argument if he gets beat by a group. You know, like if you keep executing all the people that are like are going to be weaker than you, yeah, you're always going to be the strongest because you eliminated all challengers. And at that point, you're kind of lucky that there was nobody like that before to do that to you. I'm not gonna lie though, I've kind of lost the original point we were talking about here a little bit. Also, Sukuna never said being power hungry doesn't make you as strong as him. He said that those who have that power can reach the heights of Satoru Gojo. In that quote, he's not necessarily talking about Satoru Gojo. Like he's not necessarily talking about reaching like stopping at Satoru Gojo. He was telling that to Jogo specifically because Jogo's whole "I'm not Joe Goat" moment came from good old Gojo traumatizing him. So for Jogo, it's like you should reach Satoru Gojo, have this ideology. That's what you should have done. He's saying you should have burned everything and everyone around you to the ground, and then you could have done it. But now he's seeing that Yuji, after living inside of him, got to that same point. He got that dog in him without all the selfishness. And he can't deny it to himself because Yuji and him shared a body. He knows that Yuji is not full of shit because he saw it in his soul. And that's why he's having all this introspection. If he's hungry, he eats. If he's tired, he sleeps. And if he's annoyed, he'll kill you. He doesn't want for anything because he already has all he needs. He kind of wants for an ideology now. I mean, he has an ideology. Pretty much, like, if you have any thoughts, if you're a sentient creature, you usually have an ideology, whether you know it or not. It's not necessarily one that he's good at displaying to somebody or explaining to someone. How many chapters does Rika make it? The quirkless monkey can't even. Hey, I take offense to that. It's only like 90% true. And can't answer a simple question. Could young Gojo beat Maharaga? No. Maharaga's dangerous. Maharaga has some pretty incredible feats as well. Are we talking young Gojo without RCT? Because at that point, he's using like a borked version of Limitless. And then he gets bodied. But with RCT, maybe. If he can hollow purple, if he figures out a super OP hollow purple, then maybe. Yeah, pre or post Toji? That's the question. But back to the original one. How many chapters does Rika make it? At least the next page. I think she'll get at least a panel. That's my official prediction. Teen Gojo had no red, no purple, no domain. Yes, all these things. Without RCT, he doesn't even have a way to kill Maharaga effectively. Because he gotta obliterate it in one shot. Like, what's he gonna do? Azure, like, I mean, he has the maximum output blue. That would be his best shot. But he'd have to know to not use his blue, which is the only thing he has pretty much up until that point, if it could even do it. Hollow Purple Gojo can beat Maharaga. Pre-Toji, Gojo has no chance. I agree with that. If he can make a Hollow Purple big enough to blow up Maharaga, which I'm assuming he can probably make one pretty close, you know. But Hollow Purple is Hollow Purple, and this is Jujutsu Kaisen. So when you blow up someone with a Hollow Purple, they are very dead. Unless you're Sukuna. But for the most part, Hollow Purple is about the most exceptional killing tool in the whole series. So does Maki. Can't do nothing now. Oh, that's in reference to. Do you like Rika's design overhaul? Rika is just big Rika. That's what it feels like to me. I've always thought Rika is one ugly cursed spirit. Okay, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to be cursed with such ugliness, but that is the fate that life gave her after dying. So all Rika overhauls are moderately disappointing. That's how I feel. I feel like using blue alone kills Sukuna. That's crazy. It's a crazy thing. Well, even with RCT, Maharaga wins. Blue Max can be adapted. Red can be adapted. Hollow Purple, he just learned it, so he'd still lose. It depends how big he can make the Hollow Purple. Maharaga, I mean, don't get me wrong. Maharaga is the supreme Shikigami. If Maharaga is going in to body your ass, it's just going to go ham. And if it gets past the Limitless, and he has, as a teenager, Gojo has a borked Limitless. Like, his infinity is butt cheeks compared to what it is today. And Maharaga was still able to survive in melee combat against Gojo long enough. Granted, it had Sukuna support with Agito, but this is a teen Gojo. If it is the Sukuna Maharaga dropping in like a freight train, I think he just dies. And even if he could use Hollow Purple, he'd have to figure out the adaptation. He'd have to set up the Hollow Purple to be as big as it was. And that took him, in the modern day, a black flash amp on top of a new type of technique, a remote purple, to catch them all in together. I don't know if he could do that. I don't even know if a giant Hollow Purple would be enough. Maybe a maximum output red. It did seem like in the fight we saw, a maximum output red would be enough. But besides that, it'd be an interesting fight, you know. Limitless is OP. It's simply OP. Quirkless, is everybody of the consensus now that Maho was the one who killed the previous 6 Eyes and 10 Shadows user? I think that was always the implication here. I know some people disagree, but honestly, does it make that much of a difference? I guess you could say that it means the 10 Shadows has more potential than people thought it did. But we all know 10 Shadows has crazy potential already. I don't know what else was killing them. Let's be honest, Adolescent Gojo bodies Hei and Sukuna without plot armor. Adolescent Gojo doesn't even have a domain. Adolescent Gojo doesn't even have, like... What are we on? That is crazy. That is a crazy take. The remote purple was pretty cool. I agree. What if Maharaga was as smart as Sukuna against adult Gojo? I fear the Maharaga that is as smart as Sukuna. I think it still loses because it just doesn't have the toolkit necessary. I mean, if you gave Maharaga some prep time, it can copy techniques, kind of. So if it went around and like absorbed and adapted to a bunch of other techniques, and then showed up to the battlefield as like the super him, he had like a durability technique that he adapted to, then maybe Maharaga might stand a chance. And if it's as smart as Sukuna, he might do it. With Sukuna blocking Hollow Purple, you'd have to believe it's strong enough to kill it. And Hanami did survive it. It needs to be big enough too. Yeah, that's the big thing. It's like Hollow Purple is a kill tool on Maharaga for sure. Clearly, it is a kill tool on Maharaga, considering it's what killed Maharaga. That's a pretty good metric. It being the thing the bullet that killed it. But getting it big enough as a teenager, I don't know if Gojo's capable of that. We've never seen him do it. We only saw him do it as an adult. Does Sukuna care about his life, whether he lives or die? Not one bit. What is my most insane JJK take? Let me dig deep. I had some pretty crazy ones. But some of them are starting to look more likely now. Like, Kashimo can body Kenjaku if he gets his lightning on him. And people are like, no, wait, he'll just, like, heal. But, like, I mean, are you the guy from... No, I don't think I am. Isn't that the Gary Smud meme? Sorry, that caught me off guard purposely. My most insane JJK take. Miwa sucks. Okay, I've never liked Miwa as a character. I've never cared. I made a whole hate video on her once. It no longer exists on my channel. Not because I feel bad about shitting on Miwa, because I'm doing that right now. But because I just deleted a lot of my old content. They were just too short. I didn't put enough effort into them. I don't think. Not that I necessarily have good content now, but I just wasn't as proud of them back then. But the purple that killed Maharaga was a 200% purple? I don't think it was a 200% purple. He just remote activated. He just remote activated a purple on it. And as for Miwa sucking, okay, Miwa is like a nothing character. She wants money. And then she just sits around and gets hyped up by a fan base because these are anime fans, dude, okay? They see a blue-haired anime girl and they're just going to be like, she's my favorite. Like, what else is there? What if she was just Jabba? Okay, what if she was Jabba the Hutt? Yeah, nobody gives a shit. That's just the truth. I've never cared for Miwa. Miwa was an overhyped character. All these Miwa awakening videos. She walked through Sendai one time. One single time. And people thought that Miwa was going to be like, oh, she's going to be her. Oh, she's the GOAT. Miwa can do it. Miwa is a nobody. All right? Like Maki. Maki is just Miwa plus. Okay. Maki's where it's at. Cooler power set. They both swing katanas. One of them gets shattered instantly. Where's the other one going? Probably for Sukuna. That's all I'm saying. Quirkless, I'll be the one to teach you about plot armor and the endless solitude it brings. I'm all ears. What does plot armor get me in real life? Hello, Game Boy. Miwa can solo Sukuna. Oh yeah. Miwa, I see. I'm very proud of the Miwa slander in this chat. Thank you very much. Yeah, because I had people posting comments about Miwa. People actually got pressed when I made a Miwa versus the Finger Bearer video. They got pressed. And I was like, people actually care. People actually care. Like this fodder. This clear fodder got wrecked. When are the leaks out? Next week. Next Tuesday. How do you think Gojo coming back would affect the storytelling as opposed to the story? I just feel... I mean, there is a way. There are ways to bring Gojo back into the story and not have it be ass. There are definitely ways to do that. I just don't think JJK has enough time left to do that properly. And if they wanted to do that properly, I don't know why you killed him in the first place in the way you did and just like executed him and gave him a whole airport scene. Gave him a whole airport scene. I'm sorry, I'm just reading the Miwa cope in this chat right now. Miwa's sword was weak, not her. You don't understand. They were both weak. Equally fragile. Just be happy Kenjaku didn't like catch her wrist or she would have shattered like the sword. Quirkless, do you think Maki is going to join in as Sukuna or Urame? I think Maki is definitely going to join in against Sukuna. And on a side note, give Miwa a Shikigami and she becomes 10 times more useful. Just let her get carried by a Shikigami. Clear fodder? Someone called Kashimo? Kashimo is Sukuna fodder, but so far, pretty much everybody is Sukuna fodder. Getting bodied by Sukuna is not an anti-feat, alright? That's just what happens. The guy has taken 0 losses, as far as we know. But yeah, Kashimo did get wrecked. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. All right, that agenda died. I don't stick to things that are clearly wrong. He's dead. I will switch up so fast. I will switch up so fast if my king gets demolished. And Kashimo got wrecked. He got waffled. It was over. It was pretty brutal. That's just how it be sometimes, though. I remember before that happened, 100 said, "This is Quirkless's night." Like, this is where it's all on the line for his Kashimo agenda. It got shattered instantly. Quirkless, should I get Sukuna's tattoos in real life? Listen, usually, do I think that people should be discriminated against for having tattoos on their face? No. Will you get discriminated against for having a tattoo on your face? Probably. And also, maybe don't ask people on the internet for their opinions. Don't ask a content creator on the internet on permanent alterations to your body. My opinion really shouldn't matter on that. Quirkless, if I get Sukuna's tattoos, IRL, is that an overwhelming sense of someone else? It's a sense of something. It's an overwhelming sense of something. Imagine going out and seeing Sukuna, bro. I mean, you would be the most hardcore cosplayer. It's true. If somebody actually got, like, the whole Sukuna look. That's dedication. Do you think Rika will die or be destroyed in the fight? Oh, almost certainly. I think Rika is more likely to die than Yuta because really it's just a pet at this point. It doesn't even have the soul. It's like a construct. You think Gojo is gonna do the eye binding vow? What is everybody thinks Gojo's gonna like sacrifice an eyeball? 1/6 eye? Is there even a negative to that? Or the 3 eyes? Might lose some depth perception, just like shoots the Hall of Purple off a little bit, like reaches out with his blue fist, miss. This is something I've always been shocked by in anime. Is like, you guys ever tried to like hold one eye open, like really wide, like they do in Naruto, and like close the other eye? Like that shit's hard. Okay, who the hell's able to do that consistently? Like Kakashi, like, I can't close this eye or we'll die instantly. And I'm like, how are you doing this, dude? Like, get this man some eye drops. Ugh. Do I think Sukuna's winning this? This fight, probably. Overall, definitely not. Naruto is trash though. That's so banned. Not actually. I let Gojo rest in pieces. Like damn, that's so mean. You were this close to being nice, to being like like you know a an altruistic frustration, but you just turned it into a slight. Cosmo is absolute fodder. A man's tomato sauce to go. You get the sauce and the meatballs in one slash. Yeah. It is though. All Naruto does is yap. All I do is yap. Like, what do you think I do here? It's like that's all people do in life. So much Gojo slander. I see. I've truly cornered the audience I wanted, which is pure Gojo slander. No, actually, Gojo was the whole reason I made this channel initially. Because I figured he was coming back after Megami got taken. You gonna play Curse Clash? Probably. Maybe you'll see me online. PS5. If I buy a PS5, I might. Do you think JJK might get a very dark ending with Sukuna beating all? Definitely not beating all. Will he beat people here? Probably. Yeah, but your yapping is good-ish. Sometimes, on occasion, from time to time. I'll take it. What's your predictions then, buddy? Put on the spot just like that. My predictions, okay. That is what I call the stream after all. I think we talked about that at some point in the beginning here. But it's been going for 3 hours. Yuta Okotsu, I think he's going to put up a good fight. I do. I think he's going to get a pretty good showing here. I think he's going to get upscaled a bit. I think Yuta fans are probably going to be overhyping him a bit. Because I'm guessing next chapter he's going to do some crazy stuff and everyone's going to be like, oh my god, Yuta's actually him. And then Sukuna's going to do something else that's just crazy. Either that or the other Hikari is going to come back with like Urume's head in a bag and Maki will show up all at the same time. And they'll have like the big 4v1 with Yuji, Yuta, Hikari, and Maki versus Sukuna. And then you get the technique reveal. Or something along those lines. We can tell that you're a Gojo fan by the PFP. Yeah, that does kind of give it away, doesn't it? What do you think of the airport scene? Do you think it sent off Gojo's character? I did like the airport scene. I liked it a lot. I didn't like the fight I didn't like Gojo versus Sukuna that much. But I think for what was there, it was pretty good. But I would have liked to see more of actual Heian Sukuna versus Gojo, because really the only opportunity you're going to get unless he comes back, and I just don't see that happening. But as for his send-off in the airport, I think that was pretty good for his character. Quirkless Yap session. That's what I call it from now on. Quirkless Yap session with coffee in the morning is the best combo, not gonna lie. I appreciate that. As a fellow coffee drinker, I know the feeling. Everybody wanted Heian Sukuna versus Gojo. Yeah, we really did, didn't we? That really feels like the missed opportunity there. It would also clear up a lot of the ridiculous toxicity instead of like pseudo statements and like people like explaining why Sukuna won or why Sukuna wouldn't win. It's just such a hassle because nobody is going into that conversation. Nobody's going into the conversation of Gojo versus Sukuna unbiased. Like nobody. Not me. It's just such a heated topic. So people usually have their preconceptions already there. Does Yuta know domain amplification, or is he gonna block Sukuna's slashes? I think Yuta will block his slashes with something. I don't think he knows domain amp. He might. He does have domain expansion. Explain, why did Gege nerf Gojo by not using such a broken technique of his like teleportation in the fight? He did teleport. He teleported multiple times. It's just his high speed blue. Like when you see him zoom past the Maharaga, that's his teleport. The only character that has like legitimate teleportation that we know of right now, like straight up instant, that's Ui Ui or Wee Wee. Some people gave me slack in the comments my last video for mispronouncing Ui Ui. But also, people also gave me slack. They gave me a lot of slack for my 247 review that was a month late, saying the chapter wasn't out yet, so I don't really know what to believe anymore. We need Quirkless explaining Hikari's domain, because I sure as hell skimmed through that stuff. I feel like most of us did. His domain's really not that complicated. It's just pachinko machines, pretty much. Like, he gets a probability. Like, I could go into it. Maybe I will make some more power scaling videos. I've been doing mostly, like, chapter dissects and a bit of just general discussions. But at some point, it's pronounced wee wee. Is it? Well, I call the ooey ooey, to my shame. I was told multiple times that it is called wee wee, so that's what you're gonna hear in the next video. I'm trusting you on this one. But yeah, I will probably make some new content here coming up shortly. I was also thinking of some content shifts. I don't know what people want to watch. This channel has gone under some content shifts before, but once JJK is wrapped up, I will probably talk about One Piece, but not One Piece, One Punch Man, and a few other series that people want to hear about. But I'm probably not going to limit just to anime. I'll probably be doing a lot more streaming. If for whoever that's for, whoever wants to watch it. Will you ever do more versus battles or character analysis in the future? Oh, for sure. Yeah, when I started my YouTube channel, I had a lot more free time, and recently I've been pretty busy with some life stuff, but once that's all cleared up, definitely. Wee wee sounds kind of cringe. Listen, I don't make up the pronunciation. If that's what it's called, that's what it's called. I'm here for you, so I'll watch anything. I appreciate that. Potential for Ooey Ooey / Wee Wee and Mei Mei as Gojo's under an alias. As Gojo under an alias. I'm a little confused by that question. It's a definite maybe, but thank you for the donation. How dare you diss Ooey Ooey? Well, very simple, okay? When he martyrs himself for the cause and teleports Sukuna into the sun, he will get no flack from me. I am not here for you. If we don't get Hunter x Hunter content, I will be leaving. I don't think I ever said I was going to be doing Hunter x Hunter content. That's mighty unfortunate. Why not call him both Wee Wee and Ooey Ooey? Two birds with two stones. Yeah, I don't know if that's very economical. Yui. Everyone's complaining about the pronunciation. I don't know what it is, okay, guys? I am notoriously terrible with pronunciation. I've gotten flack for it forever because I don't really listen to the anime that much. I just read it. I go off my my terrible first inclination. Only here for Ben 10 content, unsubbed. Thank you, Boku no Color. We'll get right on that Ben 10 content. Yeah, I'm just gonna just mix both. Are you from the UK? No, I'm from the US. I watch whatever, man. I like hearing you speak. I appreciate that. Very nice people. Yeah, once JJK ends, it is going to be one of those things. It's one of those moments where you know. End of an era. End of an era for JJK. Pretty huge series. I'm sure the anime will bring it up in popularity again, but it'll never be the same, you know? There's a certain level of like JJK, the anime is coming, and you're reading the manga simultaneously, and you get to theorize on both. Like you get the constant drip. It was so fun. I think JJK season 2, along with the manga, is going to be like a one of a kind experience. Oh, what Tiberius say here? Bro is still streaming. Just got back. Have y'all talked about Maki being inside Rika? Oh yes. Now I kind of want to see it happen since everybody keeps bringing it up. When JJK ends, can you just hop to Kagura, or at least start again now? You know, I'll cover whatever I'm passionate about. So I'll pick it up if I like it. I'll cover it. That's how it is. That's how it is for me. You know, some people can phone it in. All right, some people can just make endless content. I can't. I'm horrible at it. I am utterly terrible at just pumping out content. I have to have an idea, or like I have to have something I want to talk about. I don't script my videos at all. It's usually off the cuff. Stage S is your new shonen. You feel like JJK will end while Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is happening. I don't know if that's going to happen here. That's like Season 3 feels like light years ahead of the ending of JJK. Bro, has any of the Kagurabachi discourse convinced you to check it out? I'm still on the fence. All I keep seeing is the one image of a dude with a katana. That's what I keep seeing endlessly on there. Stage S is kind of CSM inspired. You see, I don't read that much manga. Maybe that's why my taste is so bad. I used to watch a ton of anime when I was younger, though. And JJK hit me. It just lit that fire of passion for a series I hadn't had in a long time. Do you think the next chapter will switch POVs? God, I hope not. I'm honestly getting tired of it. What you're saying is that you prefer quality over quantity with making YouTube videos. Do you also prefer quality over quantity for watching videos? I don't think it's necessarily that I prefer my YouTube videos to be quality over quantity, because when I first started, I uploaded daily, like every single day. And I just got, I ran out of things to talk about, and I'm not going to shoehorn in the same topic 15 times. And it still winds up happening, even with the infrequency of the uploads. I cover some different series, but yeah, it's more of a what do I feel passionate about talking about on a given day. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here in a little bit. I'll get about like another minute. So let me answer some more questions here, and then I'm gonna end the stream because we've been going for nearly 4 hours now. Will JJK end before My Hero Academia? That's a good question. Maybe. Voka No Color says, after JJK ends, I'm going to finish Sakamoto Days and then abandon manga altogether. Not totally unreasonable. Does Sukuna use his technique to keep his nails trimmed? I wonder. Maybe. Thank God the stream is over. What a loser. I know, man. Imagine living with me. It's even worse. My Hero Academia ended a long time ago, if you ask me. That's how I feel. That's how most people feel. I was wondering if a character can have multiple domains, especially since one-hit kill domains are modern, and other domains are old and easier to master, which suggests that you could have a domain with an imbued technique and one that is just barrier technique. Could Sukuna potentially have a second domain, assuming the shrine would be disadvantageous in some situations? First of all, that's a great question. And if anybody in JJK has a second technique or like a secondary domain, it would be Sukuna. And I think that's a pretty good point to bring up here, that if you don't have an imbued technique, what is your domain really? Because they call the Malevolent Shrine like, oh, the one that compounds people with slashes endlessly until it's gone. But what happens if you have no technique? Is it just the Malevolent Shrine with nothing? That's a good point. And for the last question, Quirkless, have you ever eaten a human? No. Thank you guys all for showing up. It has been a great stream. I'm really impressed that people even come here to talk at all. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'm going to go for now. Take it easy. You'll probably see a video from me this week.